What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeking Poetic Podcast. I'm Larry.
I'm Vito.
And we're here this month to talk about one of our favorite topics at Halloween time, which is
horror and scary movies.
There's so many to cover. God, we don't even know where to begin. I mean, where do you start? Lots of stuff. So we decided to pick our top 5 favorite, most influential, personally scary movies of all time. Megan gets in on the action. She's got some great choices too. They're debatable with this one here.
I know.
But we also asked you guys to give us your top 5 favorites, and we did a poll, and we're going to be talking about all of that. Some amazing choices, some questionable choices, but tons to discuss. It's a long one, folks, but it's a spooky one. So check it out. Woo!
And we're live.
Is that we're going to start it from now on?
Yeah. I've never heard that before. What's going on?
We are back.
We are back in the groove.
Back and better than ever.
Yeah, I hope so. I
Seems
hope
like we were
better.
just here
yeah.
a week ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeking Poetic Podcast. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. Across this fine table from me is
Vito Marchese.
And over there with our destiny in her hands, otherwise known as the computer and mixing board, we have
Megan Guess.
Yeah.
With Mr. Pickles.
With Mr. Pickles. He's laying down on
He's
getting a
Yeah,
little
he needed a little cat nap.
looking a little perverse there.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have a rough night. He had a little too much last night.
Yeah. He's like, I was drinking Seagram 7 and pickle juice. It got me all kinds of messed up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it easy in this episode.
I think he made a new drink there, the old Pick 7.
The
Ooh.
Pick 7.
Nice.
Oh.
I won't be drinking it, but
I was just going to say, are you going to
one of you two can try it.
try your own concoction? Don't even get me started on that. I don't know if I've ever talked about it on here on the podcast with my scary drink contest.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh man. Yeah, me and my buddy Jerry. Well, actually I did this. Jerry and I took it to next level, but me and some of my other friends used to do this too back in the, mid 90s or whatever it was. Yeah, we would like take whatever booze we had and then whatever else was like in the fridge. I want to say within reason, but you're not going to find it very reasonable. Everything else that was in the fridge that was kind of like liquid, we'll say liquid-ish, was fair game. And what you had to do was, and you could only put in so many ingredients. I think it was like 5 ingredients or something each drink, but you'd make it for the other person. So, I mean, yeah, you could be an asshole and make a drink that was going to be totally gnarly, but they were going to make one real gnarly for you too. So it'd be like some like Seagram's whiskey, maybe some, Gordon's gin. It might be like some like creme de cacao in there. So like 3 liquors that just should not be mixed, especially not all at once, But then you could add in like 2 other ingredients. Like you could add like pickle juice, or you could add
Mayonnaise?
I don't think
Ew,
know what?
That sounds terrible.
We never, to my recollection, I don't think we ever went mayonnaise. I think that was like too thick. The thickest we went was mustard.
God.
Yeah, you
Two
could
of
add
the worst condiments in the world.
mustard.
Yeah,
Really?
mayonnaise? Yeah.
Oh, I love mustard.
Oh man.
Do you just eat your sandwiches dry?
Yeah.
No pickles, no mayonnaise, no mustard,
If I eat a sandwich, it's gonna be meat and cheese and bread. That's it.
no ketchup.
Mm-mm.
He's perfect on tour. because usually that's like what we'll get in backstages, especially overseas.
I'm so glad when that happens. It's like when they bring out a tray of just this, man, this is a home cooked meal we cooked. I was like, oh man, I don't want to eat that.
Well, for me too, because a lot of things I can't eat. So yeah, a lot of those home cooked meals, I'm just like, oh yeah. Or especially in Europe when everything is Indian food.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Everything's Indian food. Oh, what do you mean you can't eat curry? And I'm like, dude,
no.
you'll be sending me home. I can't eat spicy stuff and peppery stuff, and everything is. But yeah, so backstage, it's like they'll give us like slices of bread, random meats, and cheese. And Vito's like, I'm good.
The best after gig snack for me is if there's still bread rolls and cheese left in the back room. I'll bring like 5 sandwiches back to the hotel. Be like, Larry, I got us sandwiches, dude. We're gonna eat these.
Yeah,
like,
he does do
perfect.
that. That's why I room with Vito, because we just bring like the snacks back and go to our little hotel room and laugh about shit till we fall asleep. Unlike poor Mike, who's got a room with Gary, and just pray he can like cry himself to sleep through the haze of armpit and foot stink, and then Paul's in his own fucking world. So, but anyway, yeah, we used to make these drinks, and they were rough, and the whole key to it is you make a drink for another guy or your friend or whatever. And then whoever could drink the most of it, especially if you could drink the most of it and not puke, you won. You didn't win anything.
Right.
It's a terrible game.
Yeah.
It was what were we? We were like, we weren't even
No.
teen. We were like 21, 22. Like when me and Jerry used to do that to amuse ourselves and stuff, I was like 21. He was like 23 or whatever. So 21 and 23 is not grown up. It's not, especially if you're men. If you're male, I know we like to think like we're all grown up. We're fucking morons. So anyway, that being said, I would totally try drinking pickle juice and whiskey. I would do it.
We should do it.
Have fun,
Maybe not
guys.
Vito.
Yeah. You wouldn't even do any other kind of like juice of some sort, like banana pepper juice or...
I've had like a hot pepper vodka before
Right.
at this Russian party that we went to for work one year. That was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, yeah.
It burned going down though, man. It was...
Well, I was just going to say, at least with that, because it's going to have more burn to it, you're not going to notice as much of the flavor, whereas pickle is just... yeah. We already know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
Well, you could do a pickle shot, and then we'll make a banana-flavored one for Megan.
No, I'm good.
Yeah?
I think we all know I'm good with banana. I don't want any part of that.
I'm sure. Why?
Nobody wants me to have any part of that.
No.
You guys never learn.
No, exactly. If you don't learn, y'all gonna burn.
Seriously. Don't fuck with me and bananas.
Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know if we went on that whole... We could thank Mr. Pickles for that whole long tangent. So
Thanks, dude.
10 minutes in, and we have not even talked about what this episode is going to be about.
It's scary enough as it is.
Exactly. That's true. It is a scary drink contest, and I guess that fits in because we're talking about Halloween. We're talking specifically about favorite scary movies. Yeah, man, before we even like get into it, like we were talking about earlier, we probably need to explain. So obviously, pretty much since we first started this, we realized when Halloween was coming up, October was coming up, that we were like, oh yeah, so much great stuff we could talk about. We realized real quickly there was too much because especially since there's like age differences here, because I mean, Vito, you're what are you? You're like 36, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're almost a decade younger than me. Megan's not too far behind that. And from different geographical areas and different upbringings and stuff, we realized that we have very different tastes and knowledge of horror, scary, whatever kind of movies. I mean, my initial thought was, I originally was like, oh, well, for this episode, we could just talk about like classic horror movies from like the 20s and 30s on up through, you know, the 80s. And it became real evident real fast that like you guys were like,
You're on your own.
Yeah.
right. You know, because it's just not your bag. Meanwhile, Vito is like way more into 80s, 90s modern and a lot of like
Schlocky
kind of stuff. Whereas then it was like Megan's more so into kind of like horror comedy kind of things and stuff like that.
I call it more that.
You know,
I don't want the stab 'em to death to be the focus.
Yeah.
I want some comedy stuck in there too.
well, sometimes, because I know one of your choices in your list is definitely not comedic. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, I do have one of those in there. But it's stuck with me all these years, so it had to make the list.
And that, I think, is the key with this, folks, is we ended up choosing movies that were the ones that, they weren't the only ones, but the top 5 that stuck with us the most. You know, in my case, almost every movie on my list is going to be movies that I saw when I was a kid, or at least a teenager. I think the oldest, one of my choices, I didn't see until I was in my late teens, but all the rest of them were from when I was like almost like single digits, you know, and they had the biggest impact on me. And that being said, so because I know, actually, I hope that this episode is going to cause all sorts of like debate, because we want debate, folks. We want you to fucking talk to us. Please talk to us.
This isn't going to be like, oh yeah, my top 5 are Halloween, Friday the 13th, you know, whatever.
No.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's it. It's like, no, dude. There's like so many more horror films and types of horror films than those 3, you know?
Yeah. Well, but I mean, you know, we speaking of people giving us feedback and debate, we also put up a poll a few days ago asking all of you to let us know what your choices are. So we're going to do a little twist and not just tell you the 3 of us, what our 5 is going to be, but we're also going to let you know what ended up winning the top 5 spots of all you people. Because, man, I'd say more than any other genre, the whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it horror or scary movies, and you know, 'cause there's so much ground to cover. There's it's like metal. It's like heavy metal. Like there's so many subgenres and crossovers and things that are kind of scary, kind of horror, but they're not quite horror. But then there's some of the movies that people brought up that ended up making the listener poll are movies I wouldn't have thought of, because I'm like, oh, I don't consider that part of the genre.
Yeah.
But clearly other people do. So it's really interesting, and this was really hard. This was so hard.
Just in our poll alone, we got 80 movies to sort through.
Yeah.
There were 80 of them I had to count through, people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
just the tip of the iceberg.
That's a
It's
drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
We thought the Schwarzenegger one was going to be hard, and that was only, what, a dozen, 15 movies, 20 movies we had to choose from? You know?
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, this was way more, this is way more difficult. And the funny thing is I you know, again, Vito is the big horror fan. You were saying the other night, you think that's probably your number one?
Yeah, it's funny because I always think of myself as like the science fiction dude, but
Right.
going through this for this episode, I did some research and I literally went through all horror movies from like the 80s up until now, just to kind of, because I knew I was going to forget some because there's so many. And I realized quickly there's like 70 movies I wanted to put on my top 5 list. Where if we made a sci-fi movie list, I don't know if I'd even have maybe half of those on there. So I quickly
Right.
realized that horror is like my thing.
Yeah.
You know?
And see, and now for me, I am the complete polar opposite of that. I don't really like horror. there's very, 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 very few horror movies that I really, really like. But even that being said, when I started trying to make this top 5 list and I started seeing the listener poll and seeing a lot of the suggestions they made and their choices, and it made me realize, like, oh, wow, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, this is going to be harder than I thought, because if you're counting these kind of movies and these kind of movies and these kind of movies, which the more I thought about it, I said, yeah, of course, yeah, those movies are scary. You know, they may not be traditional horror in a lot of ways, but, you know, I mean, without giving much away, I mean, yeah, a giant, you know, man-eating shark is pretty scary. So it's like, oh, yeah. So then all of a sudden my world was rocked because I was like, oh, fuck, I got to do this all over again. And it stayed pretty much the same. But yeah, I was blown away at how much harder this was going to be. So the other thing I want to say, though, I was trying to get at is, and we kind of, I think the three of us kind of talked about this the other night when we were discussing this. The choices we're making, I mean, again, we're fine with you people wanting to debate it with us. We welcome it. But the choices we're making, we're not necessarily saying that our 5 movies we each chose are the best movies. You know, like I know there's movies that are in my top 5 that are technically not that great of a movie, and not even as great as, or anywhere near as great as, some other horror movies or scary movies that I love that are even better. But it's just that we chose the 5 that we chose because they were the ones that impacted us the most. You know, like the ones that stuck with us the most, the ones that kind of then influenced our other tastes thereafter, you know? So you got to, when you hear our choices, you got to take that all into consideration. That's all I'm saying. Because I know there's going to be some that it's like, you know.
How did you not mention?
Right. Well, we've already been doing that to ourselves. Yeah. Vito, you just said, because what was the one you just said that, because, you know, spoiler, I guess, that it's not going to be on your list, but what? Return of
Living Dead 3. Like, dude, I mean, one of my favorite movies, and like,
yeah, there it is right there.
Yeah.
I love this. Pull that son of a bitch out. Yeah.
Am I a fan of Night of Living Dead? No, not really. Am I a fan of Return of the Living Dead 3, 4, and 5? Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sequel man strikes again.
It's funny. I went to a horror convention a couple years ago, and there was a girl. She cosplayed as this.
Oh. Did you propose?
Like, yeah. I always carry a ring in my pocket for this special occasion. And that day I didn't bring it with me for some reason. But no, I got to take a picture with her. It was pretty fun.
That's cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when you see people like that dig, kind of like me and you talked about in the last episode, like with the Dark Star thing.
Yeah.
Like when you have something that's a little bit more obscure like that, you know, and you know not everybody's gonna get. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's neat.
But yeah, I mean, it's a tough proposition trying to choose from basically 100 years of movies, you know, and there's so many classics. And that's the other thing I want to say right now is that I ended up with my list. Again, I chose movies that impacted me the most. But my favorite genre of horror movie is like the classic black and white Universal monsters, or Hammer horror. Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, all those kind of guys, you know, even, you know, some of the real silly ass ones from the early 70s, like Dracula, 1972 AD.
Yeah.
You know, I love those movies. Those are my favorites. When Halloween comes, like, I'll watch those all day long, all week long. You know, I love when, is it AMC? No, not AMC. Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah.
they'll show all those movies. You know, I'll get home from practice at 2 a.m, and then I turn it on and there's some bad, like, I say bad in a good way,
endearing way.
Yeah, like a bad, like, you know, British vampire movie from 1967 on or something, and I just get totally wrapped up in it. I love that stuff. I'm telling you right now, I didn't put any of it in my list.
Wow.
Because it deserves its own thing. At some point, whether I do it with you guys or I do it on a single segment, you know, I want to talk about all that kind of stuff. Or maybe if we eventually do an episode that's just about like vampires or something like that, you know, since most of those movies tend to be about vampires.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything with those. I purposely left those off because it's kind of like you with a lot of your movies where you're like, dude, there's literally 70 of these I could choose from. And that's kind of the same thing with you. I mean, I know you did pretty good with your list from what I saw, but I know that there's like certain genres that you could just do a top 5 just of that genre.
Yeah.
Like found footage.
Dude, yeah, I mean, yeah, found footage, like, most of these, like, recommend movies I have on my list are, like, all found footage movies. I just love that genre, you know?
Right.
So.
Right. And you know, and then the same thing with Meg. Like, she would have easily been able to do a top 5 or more of the more, like, dark comedy, horror type stuff, scary movie
like
stuff.
Young Frankenstein, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Right.
All that kind of silly stuff.
Like, that would have made up your whole. So
absolutely.
So I think we kind of
I tried to kind of steer away from that because I wanted to do more the ones that impacted or a little more scary.
Right. So just trying to explain to you folks like why these are our choices. Because there's so many movies. Even there's a lot of more recent movies. When I say recent, but
1982.
I was going to say, meaning more like late 80s to now kind of thing. Anything from like 1990 to now, I consider recent. Whereas probably like half of our listeners and viewers are probably like, man, I wasn't even born yet, dude. You know, but to me, yeah, like I do that with TV, music, movies, like things that came out in the 90s. I'm like, that's a new movie. It's like, no, it's not new, man. It's almost 30 years old, asshole. But yeah. So anyway, talked enough about that, I think. But just real quick, you know, how do you guys feel about Halloween? Like, what do you think of Halloween? Just not the series, but the holiday. Do you dig Halloween?
It's the only holiday I enjoy.
Really?
And I think it's a fun holiday. Like the other holidays, I can give a shit less about. Like Christmas, I don't care. Thanksgiving, 4th of July is fun because they usually play the Twilight Zone marathon. So I get down with that. There's a barbecue. That's always nice. But Halloween is just like this fun event that everybody usually enjoys and has fun with, you know?
See, and I'm the total... No, I shouldn't say total opposite. When I was younger, I loved Halloween. And now that I'm older, like I don't care. I don't know. Halloween doesn't really do it for me. And it's just funny because then, like, of course, being, you know, in addition to Doom, I play in the cover bands and all that. And they always want to hire the cover bands and stuff to play all these Halloween party events. So it's always like, we got to get dressed up. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, man. Look at me. Do I really need a fucking costume? I mean, really.
You make a great cousin.
I was just gonna say, you should do an Addams Family themed cover band.
There you go.
You should.
Yeah. There
you guys get a keyboard player, but it's just Thing. Like a guy will be underneath the keyboard in black. It's just his hand. That'd be pretty funny.
That'd be cool. Yeah, a guy could be the keyboardist, but he only plays with one hand.
Yeah,
and he stands the whole time. He's like behind
he's got
like
a
black
morph
curtain
suit on or something
and everything.
That.
So he's just got the one hand out playing. That's actually a really good
that
idea,
is a good
Vito.
fucking idea.
Holy shit!
Better start it before this comes out live.
I was just saying,
right?
get a chick to dress up like Morticia, and oh, man, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
You're onto something.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to be Lurch?
I was just going to say.
I'd have to, right?
Yeah.
Would Lurch be the bass player, though?
Kayla's gig. You should do this.
Yeah, there you go. Would Lurch be a bass player, though? What do you think he would? No, but he plays piano in the show, doesn't he?
Lurch is a
Lurch
badass.
Is Lurch. He can do whatever he fucking wants.
Fuck yes. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but we can bass. We'll get Mike Feldman to be Pugsley.
Jesus.
You know, put him in those shorts,
Oh, yeah,
man, in
man.
the fucking shorts, and make him slick his hair back. Playing a Rickenbacker bass under his chin. Oh man, we're on to something.
I think so, man.
What about you, Meg?
I've always enjoyed Halloween. My favorite part is all the kids coming around getting candy. But I've always lived in the country.
So no kids come around.
So no
for candy.
fucking kids come around.
Yeah.
So I was very excited when I actually got to live in a town. I was like, oh, I get to give kids candy.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to give the kids candy and see all their Halloween costumes and everything. I don't care what age you are. Come get candy from me. That's the whole thing now.
You know what? Yeah, I'm with you on that. Because I always hated having to, when I was like a teenager or even 20s, like I hated that. I was always like, I don't want to be home when trick-or-treating happens. I don't want to be fucking bothered. Now I actually liked it. Like I get a kick out of it. You know, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I like to see what the kids are dressing up as and everything. It's pretty cute, I have to admit. I'm generally not a big fan of kids. Overall, you know, I'm not that big, you know. Well, when they just walk up to the door, I give them candy. They get the fuck away from me. Dig it. You know, like that's cool. Much longer than that, fucking beat it. Scram. You know, no, I'm just kidding, kind of. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. I like that part of it.
I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
What was your favorite Halloween costume growing up?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I've got two.
Okay.
Okay.
One of them is just funny. It's not my favorite, just something funny I had. But the number one was the T800.
Well, go
Really?
fucking
Yeah.
figure.
I had this cheap fucking, probably from the dollar store, fake appliance thing I put over in like my right eye that had like the endoskeleton look. It was so horrible. But I felt so cool because I was the fucking T800, right?
Okay. What was the other one?
This was when I was a little bit older, like probably 13 or 12. I just bought just like a white dress shirt and I cut a hole out of it. And I bought this like another fake appliance that looked like a flesh wound, like some claw got ripped out on me.
Okay.
So I had it taped kind of into my shirt, but it kept falling off. So I had to pick it up from the ground and keep taping it on, and it would fall off again. It was just really bad. But it's a funny story, I thought, at the time.
Man, I don't even know. Because I used to love, I had so many, I mean, some of my friends even know some of my stories. Like there's the infamous Hulk story when my mom put giant maxi pads all over my body, like adhesive maxi pads, when I was only like 5 years old. Yeah, I was 5. And she put a bunch of maxi pads on my legs and arms and everything in my chest, and then put like green tights and a green tight long sleeve like turtleneck shirt. And I wore a Hulk mask, an old Ben Cooper Hulk mask. And I had like the shredded up shorts, you know, jeans over it. I thought I was so badass until my teacher, who was female, and the other PTA moms and everybody found out that I had maxi pads stuck all over my body, and they were all of them, including my teacher, were just laughing their ass off at me, and I got really mad because I was like, "What are you laughing at? I'm the Hulk! I'm the Hulk! Fear me!" I thought I was so tough, man. I was like, I'm the fucking Hulk, and then I was just crushed.
Oh.
You know, I was super absorbent though. So, you know, thank God it didn't rain on me. Could you imagine?
You would have grown in size just like the Hulk.
Right, yeah. And as an adult, so that was a good one. Of course, I did Kiss. I did Blackie Lawless of Wasp when I was in 8th grade. I did tons of Star Wars. But as an adult, my favorite adult costume that I did, well, 2. I did Adam Ant a few years ago from Adam and the Ants. That was good. I loved doing that. And my other one was I dressed up as the mysterious stranger otherwise known as Salieri from Amadeus, with the black cloak and the black hat and the comedy and tragedy masks. They were painted black, and I had the one on the back and the one on the front and everything, and I just did that. I was so mad though when I went out. I wanted to have like a little Discman or a little something that I could have to have that music that from Don Giovanni from the movie. I'm a dork, man. Go figure, But I love Amadeus. That movie's amazing. But I'll have to find a picture of it. But that was one of my favorite costumes. Was that? I thought that was pretty badass. It's just not one you see every day, What about you? What was yours?
The one I remember most clearly as a child is I was a clown. I had my face all painted and stuff.
Okay.
And then I had one that I really loved. I was a cheerleader because I always wanted to be a cheerleader, but I never actually did it. So thought it was very badass walking around being a cheerleader, walking around finding my skirt and stuff.
That's funny.
I really enjoyed that one. So those are my two favorites as a kid.
Cool.
Thought you were going to say like a run over cheerleader with like blood or something.
No, it wasn't anything like that. Okay. No, nothing actually cool. I just thought I was cool.
That's usually the case.
Yeah.
You usually think you're cool, but you're just not.
Yeah.
Same with me.
But I felt it, so.
That's all that matters.
I worked it.
Yeah. That's same with every year I dressed up as something when I was like in grade school, like the Hulk, Gene Simmons, Blackie Lawless, Darth Vader. Every year I thought I was like so badass. And then by the end of the night, I realized that I was not. But that's the way it goes. Speaking of that, of being a badass, so Megan over here, every time we do a podcast, is a royal badass with all the good advice that she gives you people out there. And I mean, with it being Halloween time, and with all the spooks and scares and psychopaths and everything else you have to deal with, I think that we need to call upon you, Megan.
Yep. Yeah, people need my services
to give
Stay alive this Halloween.
Yeah.
Please.
Throw the signal.
Yep, exactly.
We got to make you like a
Meg signal.
Yeah, for sure.
Fire up the Meg signal. And I think we'll fire up the Meg signal and sit back and listen to Megan give you her life lessons right about now.
Hi everyone, Megan here with my top 5 life lessons we can all learn from watching scary movies. We already know it's a bad idea to go out all alone, be a teenager having a good time, or trying to keep personal good hygiene by showering. Here are 5 more lessons we all need to know to survive the spookiest night of the year. Number 5, don't be a bully. Okay, I know some of you out there think you're really tough. You just can't help but show it off by pushing around people who are smaller and weaker than yourself. Well, you might think you can get away with that stuff for a while, but I'm here to tell you that if your life ends up being like in the movies, you're gonna have one hell of a payback coming. Time and again, we see how the bullies start out with the upper hand. But before long, they're suffering at the hands of some creepy monster, a serial killer, or just some pissed off kids pelting your dumb ass with some rocks. So the next time you want to show off with some nasty pranks or tough talk, just pray you don't find yourself up against some crazy chick or a psychotic clown or something like that, because I guarantee you're gonna lose. Number 4, be a smart home buyer. So you've worked hard and saved a little money, and it's finally time to get out there and see what kind of homestead you can find for you and your family. You see a quaint old house with lots of character and it's dirt cheap. It's what a bargain, right? Wrong. Listen, over and over again, we've seen that these kind of real estate deals mean one thing. You've basically just bought yourself a cozy little portal straight to hell. Oh, you might think the original hardwood floors, crown molding, and open floor plan is too good to pass up? But seriously, when it comes to bugs, demons, ghosts, killer trees, and other horrible things, is it really that good of a bargain? Well, a clawfoot tub is pretty incredible, but never mind. So, unless you want to plant your garden on an ancient burial ground, or you think Satan's going to be a fun house guest, I suggest you just move along and see what else the realtor can find. Number 3, pay attention to your kids and your pets. We all know that being an adult can be tough, and being a parent is even tougher. Kids are loud, messy, and always doing crazy stuff. But sometimes it's good to pay a bit closer attention to your kids. Like when they start talking about the voices on the staticky television telling them things, the werewolf in the basement, the clown in the showers, or the guy named Captain Howdy in the Ouija board. Just don't assume they're being little brats with wild imaginations. Often it's the kids who see and hear things that adults are often too busy or ignorant to notice. And so much drama could have been avoided if you'd just taken those kids just a bit more seriously. And on that note, seriously folks, if you notice that your pet is starting to scratch and bark at the walls or TVs, or is running scared from the basement, odds are good that something is really wrong and it's time to call a priest or the Ghostbusters or something. Kids and animals are always the first to figure it out, because we adults are too busy with work, paying bills, and trying to figure out how that one guy keeps beating you at words with friends. Oxyfenbutazone? Are you freaking kidding me? Number 2, stairs are bad, okay? Look, I get it. When you're being pursued by some crazy maniac or monster, you're not exactly thinking calmly, and you can't be expected to do everything just right. But really, why on earth would you run upstairs or downstairs to the basement? You just know you're going to be trapped in either situation, and there ain't a bathroom, closet, or crawl space that's going to stop these crazy bastards from getting to you. Not to mention, you run the risk of falling or tripping down the damn stairs and injuring yourself perfectly, so your pursuer has an even better chance of catching up to you. Stay at ground level and run your silly ass right out the door and get somewhere populated and well lit, like a Taco Bell. Seriously, if you're gonna get mangled, you might as well get one more last 7-layer burrito to enjoy. And lastly, if you see some crazy girl coming down the stairs at you, walking upside down like a spider, just forget it, you're completely screwed. Number 1, they always come back. It's the oldest trick in the book, folks. The killer gets shot, stabbed, thrown out a window, and you're just sure he's gotta be dead. Well, guess what? They're not. Nope. Instead, they're pretending to be dead because they just know your dumb ass is gonna come up to them and check and see. Look, we all know it's nearly impossible to kill some of these crazy bastards. So the next time you find yourself in a situation like this, don't stick around and hover over them to see if they're dead. Just run! Get the hell out of Dodge and let somebody else deal with it. And if you're going to insist on sticking around, always double tap. Don't wait to see if they're suddenly going to jump up and attack you. Just shoot or stab them for good measure before they even get the chance. And don't worry, even if it does seem like you succeeded in killing them good, they'll still figure out a way to get 4 or 5 crappy sequels out of it. Sequel Man has to have something to watch on a rainy Saturday night. I mean, come on. And that wraps up our life lessons for scary movies. Now go put on your costume and go roam around your neighborhood finding your favorite candy, because Halloween is for any age. Happy Halloween, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thank you for that, Miss Megan.
You're very welcome.
Good job.
Always so helpful, helping people out, helping stupid white people not get completely destroyed on Halloweeny. White people are the worst, man. They seriously. It's it's always young dumb white people getting themselves into trouble. Because everybody else is just like, I know better. I ain't going in those places, but yeah. But if without them, we wouldn't have the genre.
That's true.
So.
I was just saying that kind of fits one of my movies perfectly.
Yeah.
But
okay.
We'll wait.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Actually, we are going to wait on that because instead of normally right around now, we would jump into our top 5, but I think we're going to do something different, and let's discuss the viewers and listeners' results of the poll that we put out there.
That's you.
Dude, that's you. That's you. You did this. This is all on you.
Yeah.
You dumb schlep.
Murphy, it's you. That's not a horror-related reference, but some people will get it.
Yeah.
It worked.
Well, anyway, so yeah, we tallied them up. Actually, Megan tallied them up. We make her do all the work.
Tally the banana, right? Is that what you did?
She
No. No, I'm nowhere near a fucking banana. No.
6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot
Bunch.
Yeah.
No.
But
That's
see,
been one of my favorite movies
Is it?
of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
So, but she's still not going to tally you banana.
No.
No, it's not going to happen.
No. Fucked up banana.
So anyway, what were the results? What do you got to say?
Our number one Halloween movie from our viewers is actually Halloween.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah. Shocker there.
I mean, that is a really, really popular, one of the most iconic ones for the holiday. But boy, it's beating out some other.
big
Yeah.
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. Are you guys fans of Halloween?
You ready for this?
Okay, come at me, sequel man.
Halloween
the
6,
first- oh.
The Curse of Michael Myers.
Okay.
I like Halloween Resurrection. I like Halloween H2O.
Okay. I've
And
seen H2O. I don't think I saw Resurrection.
Resurrection, that's the one with Busta Rhymes, I think. They're making like this
I did.
webcast show.
No. I did see that then. Okay. I didn't remember that's what that one
Yeah.
was. Okay. Yep.
I think that's it.
Of course you like that.
I haven't seen the first one, to be honest with you guys, all the way through, probably ever.
What?
And if I did, it was like a long time ago. Yeah,
I don't think I've seen any of them.
really.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me that much because again, I know, but you, wow.
I know I've seen most of it, but I don't know if I sat down from beginning to the absolute end of the movie ever.
Great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that I've come to enjoy more and more over the years. Great cast. Again, it's our boy that created that Carpenter,
Yeah.
Mr. Darkstar.
Yeah.
A lot of the same people that worked on that and everything. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis, who is amazing. It's got PJ Souls, who was Riff Randall in Rock and Roll High School, who is one of my favorites of all time, was in it. Even Topless, that sort of threw me for a loop when I was like 12 or whatever, when I first saw Halloween, and I was like, whoa, that's Riff Randall naked. I don't know how to I didn't know how to feel about that at the time. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great series. I really like Halloween. I like Halloween 2. Halloween 3. Did you ever see
Silver
that one?
Shamrock? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
People love that movie.
They do.
now, man. I fucking hate that movie. I hate that fucking movie. I hate that fucking song. Oh, there's something about it. There's something about it that just like is like nails on a chalkboard. That movie, Halloween 3, I saw that when it came out, and it really disturbed me. So yeah.
Had you seen it after you seen like the first 1 and 2? Or?
Yes, and I was really confused because I was like,
Did you know they were going on like a different?
no.
Okay.
No, my dad and I watched it like when it first, well, I shouldn't say when it first came out. When it first came out on video, he rented it, and neither one of us liked it. Premise was cool. I'm not saying it was even badly done, but I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole concept of all the kids getting gruesomely killed wearing those masks. And I was like, fuck you, man. That ain't fucking cool. We do to you, you fucking druid dick.
It's Dan O'Leary, isn't it?
Yeah.
The owner of the company?
Yeah. I just, anyway. Overall, I think Halloween's a good series, so it deserves to be number 1 as voted by you, the viewers. But yeah, kind of surprising. I guess it's not that surprising. What's more surprising is because I've seen the list. What's more surprising is some of the ones that didn't make the list from people. I'm really stunned. So anyway, let's go on. Number 2.
Number 2, viewers like you voted for Exorcist. I don't blame you there.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that movie just yet because that obviously I'll get into The Exorcist later on in this episode. That definitely belongs up there and everything, and that is the true definition of a fucking scary fucking movie to me. Anyway, I guess it depends on how mental you are. I'm pretty mental, so. Anyway, okay, good. Halloween, Exorcist. I think those are, that's what we'd about expect.
Mm-hmm. And for number 3.
It's a 3-way tie.
It's a 3-way tie, actually, with The Thing, Jaws, and Poltergeist.
That's interesting.
It's funny. 2 of those I would not consider horror movies.
The
Which
Thing and
2?
Jaws.
Jaws and The Thing.
You don't think that, well, you see, okay, Jaws is, I agree with you as I was hinting earlier. I don't think Jaws is a horror movie. Well, again, we didn't really ask people to do horror. We said scary.
That's true.
It's your favorite scary movies to watch, especially around this time of year.
Yeah, it's kind of what we were going for. It was what we thought was scary.
Right. It doesn't necessarily have to be
Horror.
pure horror. So, but even that being said, I wouldn't have thought of Jaws. Yeah, it's scary to me. It's tense, but that's not like the kind of movie that gives me nightmares or makes me afraid to walk outside the house, in the dark kind of thing, which to me is more what a scary movie is.
Like the movie Hammerhead, or aka Sharkman, where it's literally a man fused with shark DNA so he can walk and chase you down on land as well as the water.
Land shark.
Land shark.
Candygram.
Why are you looking at me like that, Megan?
I have no words.
Oh yeah, we can't. I mean, that's a whole. We could get into shark movies in its own episode.
See, to me, Jaws is a shark movie, or to a certain degree, a creature feature. I guess is where I probably would put The Thing, but
yeah, no. See, to me, The Thing belongs. The Thing belongs there. I think that's a true scary borderline, but it's got a sci-fi element too.
Yeah.
It's one of those other ones that we were talking about earlier that it's like may not be as obviously horror like Halloween is or something like that. But I think The Thing, but fucking great movie,
dude. One of the best movies ever.
Oh yeah.
As far as disturbing imagery, and the practical effects, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Did you ever see The Thing?
Nope.
The 1982
Man.
one? Oh my gosh.
I don't think I did. If I did, it didn't stick with me.
I was gonna say, I'm
if you saw it, it would have stuck with you.
kind of surprised you didn't see that because Kurt Russell's in it and stuff, and yeah, but
okay,
yeah, but and it's such a great movie, yeah, incredible. Yeah. I saw that when it first hit video back in 82, 83, whatever it was, and whoa. It's funny. I had so much more of a stomach for that kind of stuff when I was a tween.
Me too.
In teen, it didn't bother me at all. I was like, whoa, cool. Which Vito still is like.
Yeah.
A lot of people are. Now I watch things with disturbing imagery and I'm like, oh, hey, can't handle that, Buster. So, and then the other one was Poltergeist, which, see, yeah, that's a true scary movie. It's just, I don't know. It's scary. I thought it was scary when I saw it. I saw that when I saw it at the theater. I don't even know if you were born yet, Vito.
Is that 81 or 80?
82.
I was born 82.
Okay,
so,
yeah. Okay, so you were just a baby.
Yeah.
And you were a toddler.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was already in 4th grade or 5th grade or something. I saw that at the theater, and that was. Yeah, it was, but that was pretty scary to me. But by that point, I had already seen Amityville Horror, and I remember being like, "Oh, well, this is just the Steven Spielberg version of Amityville Horror." So there There was some good jump scares, you know what I mean? But otherwise it didn't like fuck with me, you know what I mean? Because I'd already seen Amityville, and that was more of a
Did you guys see the remake of Poltergeist that came out a few years ago?
No.
I thought it was pretty good, man.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you did.
I did, and I'm not that big of a fan, if at all, of that first Poltergeist movie. So
Okay.
I don't know if that says anything or not, but
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole... Yeah, I don't... Yeah. Unfortunately, who knows?
although I do like the clown scene and the tree scene where he grabs a kid. That was pretty effective, man. That's
Yeah. But see, that at the same time, they always kind of made me laugh a little, too. Like, they did make you go, oh, shit, you know, but they also... That clown cracks me up. But if you're somebody who's, like, deathly afraid of clowns, and, you know... That'll fuck with you. I don't know. Are there people that are deathly afraid of trees?
I'm sure there are.
You know,
I'm sure they've been on Maury
creepy
Povich
trees.
too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right. All right. So that was our 3-way for 3.
And then we have a 4-way for 4.
Oh, boy.
I see a
We didn't
pattern
even-
here.
Yeah, we didn't even plan it that way.
Yeah, it sure didn't. We have Creepshow,
Yeah.
Hellraisers,
Yeah.
All right.
Phantasms,
Yes.
Yeah.
and The Shining.
Yeah.
Vito is in agreement with the people who chose those. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, Creepshow.
Yes.
Underrated, really cool movie, man. Like, just, well, we talked about it a little bit in the Stephen King episode and everything. Yeah, I love the whole look of that. I love the way they made it like a comic book, like an old
EC Comics
EC
or
comic
something.
brought to life. You know, I thought it was done amazingly. Yeah, it's pretty scary. I mean, it's pretty disturbing. I mean, even the Stephen King bit in there, you know, with
Jordy.
Jordy,
right?
yeah, with fucking meteor shit. Yeah, even that. I
I mean,
mean,
it's goofy, but imagine
it's
if
goofy,
that happened
but then
to you.
then as it gets to the end of it, it's like, ooh, it's dark, man.
Yeah.
You know, it seems real goofy throughout it, but when it gets to the end, it just gets kind of sad and dark. Yeah. So Creepshow, yeah, that belongs, and I'm down with that. Hellraisers, the Hellraiser series, that I've seen them. You know, I've watched them. That just gets over the line for me a little bit. It's a little bit too, I don't know, not quite my thing. Cool fucking concept, man. And for its time.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was like pretty hardcore brutality for what, 80, was it 85, 6? Something like that, 87?
Something like that, 87 maybe, yeah.
I mean, you still had, obviously you had the slashers in the early 80s, but this was something different, man. It wasn't, it was very demonic and
it was
fucked up more than it is
hellish.
Like
yeah, it was, and the way certain things were like depicted and just, you know, it was unsettling.
And the characters were very creepy and like Uncle Frank and stuff was just fucking weird, fucked up guy. You know, it was just different kind of slasher horror film.
Yeah. That being said, I can't stand the fucking song. Hellraiser. I don't even I know it's sacrilege to say, but even the Motorhead version of it, I'm like, ugh. It's such a oh god.
Well, what's worse, Hellraiser or Zombie Stomp? Gonna have to go with Zombie Stomp on that one.
But anyway, yeah, Hellraiser, not my thing personally, but I respect it.
Yeah.
It's something, man. It's well done. Have you ever seen the Hellraiser movies?
Nope.
Oh. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what you thought of those. So I think you actually have more of a stomach for that shit than I do.
Yeah,
just from
maybe.
some of the things you've told me you've watched, and I'm just like, oh god, I wouldn't even watch that. And you're just like,
Okay.
You may not like it necessarily,
Yeah, it
but
may not be my thing, but I can watch it and appreciate it.
But see, there's like, I can't with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I'm like, nope, I don't even want to see it. I can't watch it. I won't even see it. I'm, like I said, it's because I'm fucking mental. So what was next? Oh, Phantasm. Yeah.
Yeah, what is that one? I don't know what that one is.
So Phantasm, the original, came out in like, I want to say 79 or
Yeah.
something like that. 77, 79, somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. That's because the second one didn't come out.
No, the second one was like 88.
88, yeah.
And I don't even know how to describe the first one to you if you didn't see it. It's a science fiction, like psychological, weird, surreal film. Like basically the premise is there's this alien guy, which is called the Tall Man, and he's come to Earth to steal our dead and shrink them into these midgets to bring them back to his planet as slaves. And he's hunting this kid and his brother, and he has these balls, these silver balls that can fly, and they have these spikes that come out and stick in your head, and then drill a hole in your forehead and like suck your brains and blood out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
it's a little more involved than that, but
but that's basically the gist of it, you know. And there's 5 of them in the series.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think most people I knew, maybe it's just because of my age, most people I knew really got on board with that series and with 2.
Yeah.
2 was really popular.
That's how I got on board, man.
Yeah, that's because that one came out, like you said, like around 88.
Yeah.
That was when I was in high school, and I mean, like, that was like the shit. Like, people were...
It's still the shit, man. Let me tell you.
You know, that people were really into that at the time. So that I was familiar with... I think I might have even seen the first Phantasm before that, but I definitely saw Phantasm 2, you know, old, like, blockbuster movie rental night kind of thing, you know. Totally one of those, like, classics for that.
Yeah.
It's good. Again, it's one of those things that I wouldn't necessarily not watch it, but it's not one of those things that I'm like, oh, I really want to watch Phantasm movies. It's just not because they're even bad. It's just not my kind of horror. Like I said, you know, I'm going to lean towards my possession and vampire movies and stuff. But yeah, totally deserving of being up there.
Absolutely.
And then the last number 4 was The Shining, which, I mean, we don't need to talk.
Needless to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already talked about that. But, I mean, so, hang on, I'm looking at the list right now. So that's the highest ranking Stephen King movie that the viewers picked?
It is.
Wow. Out of all of them, The Shining. I mean... Because there's other ones which that didn't even end up making the top 5. There's, you know, things like Carrie, It,
Langoliers.
Right. No, that yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of like really good. I mean, it's Stephen fucking King, and interesting because Shining is such a divisive movie. People love it or hate it, you know. So it's cool to see it actually make it into the top 5. Yeah. All right.
Do we have a 5-way for number 5?
We do not. We have a 6-way for number 5.
Just had to fuck it up.
I totally fucked it up. Sorry. Good job, guys. We have Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Children of the Corn.
Okay, there's the other Stephen King.
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Hostels.
Mm-hmm.
The Hostel, yeah.
Hostel movies. And Motel Hell.
And Motel Hell creeps in there, man. That's fucking awesome. Well, let's talk about that first.
All right.
You've seen Motel Hell?
Yes, Motel Hell was one of those late night Channel 7, Channel 9 when I was like 7 years old or whatever it was. And
it seems like, I don't know why.
That's where everybody sees it.
Everybody saw it that way because that's how I saw it. That's how I know some of the people that picked it for the poll. They described, like my old school buddy Dennis, he talked about seeing it, same thing, you know, when he saw it on TV, on pay television, which is how I saw it. My cousin Russell, who's a couple of years older than me, which is, I love my cousin Russell, but because he was older, he was always more like hey man, yeah, we're going to watch this tonight. And I'd be like, okay. And then be halfway through it and be like, oh my God, what did he fucking drag me into? And his grandma would be our babysitter, and she'd be like long asleep, you know, and we'd still be like, you know, sitting up like we're supposed to be like sleeping, but we'd have the TV on real. And I just remember being like, what the fuck am I watching? with that van full of hippies that are buried in the ground.
Yeah, with the bags on their head or whatever.
Or with the things are like hypnotizing or whatever, and then the fucking Jagoff coming in with the chainsaw and the overalls and the big pig head and everything. I was like, oh. and see for me especially, because I think I talked about this before, I don't like human animal hybrid things. So here's this guy. I mean, I know he was just wearing a pig's head, but still, I saw this movie. I was way too young to see. I was like 7 years old, and I see this guy with this, pig head and this human body like over with the chainsaw, and I was like, no. And I didn't understand it. Like, I didn't get the whole thing. And then, like, at the end when he was dying and he, talking about how he tainted it with preservatives and whatever, I was like, I don't. And that movie has like a message to it. It was supposed to be like the makers, I think it wasn't just like a horror movie. Like, it was supposed to have some kind of underlying, whatever. But all I know is, that movie fucked with me. So.
Yeah, that image of him with the pig's head has stayed with me since I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really bothered me when I was a kid, because I was just like, no, I don't like that. I don't understand what's going on in this movie, but I know I don't like that. And so I don't disagree. It's cool to see, because everything else on this list is all pretty much like mainstream.
That you would think would be on a list like that.
Yeah, that people would, more or less choose for a list like this. So it's cool to see one sort of undergroundy, like, classic like that. It's a classic now, creep in there. So yeah, I'm down with that. Next up was Hostel. Sorry, folks.
That's not a Larry movie at all.
Not my thing at all. And I won't go on about it now, because I know I'm gonna go on about it later. But it's really popular. I know people dig it. So whatever, you're into that kind of thing. So it doesn't surprise me that it's in there. Not at all. Kind of surprised. So Hostel made it into the top 5, but none of the Saw movies did.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't think anybody even mentioned the Saw, did they? I don't remember.
Think so.
Good. But anyway, are you guys into the Hostel movies?
I was when they first came out. See, it's weird, because around that time, early mid 2000s, I was kind of into that torture porn, whatever style you want to call it. Now, I don't watch those types of movies really. But I remember when that came out, it was like a big deal. Like, what the fuck, man? This is fucked up,
Yeah. Not my thing.
I will say that I believe Hostel 2 is a better film than the first one.
Well, come on. I mean, Vito saying that the sequels are better than the first one is kind of like saying the sky is blue.
But I remember, dude, when the first Hostel came out, that's the first time that we went to Europe with Doom.
Oh,
and we were staying at hostels, literally at hostels, during some of the nights.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hadn't even seen the movies, and that was still on my mind, just knowing what they were about and everything. Yeah.
And I didn't have a fear that would happen to us, but it's just surreal to know that I watched that movie. Now I'm here in Eastern Europe, staying at a hostel. And just in the back of your mind, you're like, holy, does this really happen in real life, or is this just in movies? I think that's like the scary part of that.
Well, the scary part of those movies to me is that a lot of that shit, maybe not to that extreme or that extent, it does happen in real life. And that's why I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff. I don't like serial killer type shit, because it's like, these people exist. All those fucking people that you hear about, like, Loretta Jones went missing last week and nobody's seen her and everything. And, fucking unfortunately, not all the time, but a lot of times it's because there's some fucking whack job out there that's doing shit because it's just too easy to do that. And I don't like the idea that, I don't know. I'm not one of those people that thinks heavy metal makes you violent or makes you want to kill yourself or makes you satanic. I'm not one of those people that thinks that smoking weed is going to make you a derelict or blah, blah, blah. But I am one of those people that's like, man, some of these movies, they just, it really worries me that it puts ideas in people's head. Now, I'm not saying it's going to make somebody a serial killer. I'm thinking it's making somebody who has the predilection to be a serial
who's
killer.
a little off the rocker be like, well, this happens in the movies. It's not like it's going to be real life when I do it.
Something or something that's going to like, click with them and be like, ooh, that's what I'm going to do. It's like, that being said, sorry, I say that a lot. That being said, but in all honesty, it doesn't really matter. I'm not blaming the movies because I'm not one of those people. I'm not blaming the movies because if somebody's crazy enough to do shit like that, they're going to find inspiration anywhere. You know what I mean? They're going to do it anyway. I don't know. I can't watch those movies, those kind of movies, and take myself apart from reality and go, man, like there could be somebody going through this right fucking now, Whereas some of these other things, when they're just so out there, so beyond, Evil Dead, like, come on, man. Like, no. I can separate from reality, something like that, and just enjoy that for what it is. Things like Saw and Hostel, and especially, man, you get into some of the Japanese horror stuff. That's so beyond all that. I call it fucking exit bar horror.
Yeah. Dude, some of those, man, are like, what?
Some of the shit that they fucking play. Rodney, what are you doing? Why are you playing that shit, man? It's awful. I go to Exit to have a good time and have a drink, see my buddies, and then I look up at those screens and I watch that stuff and I'm like so bummed. I'm like, oh, it just puts me in a bad mood. Just put on some fucking music videos, man. I love you, dude, but God, you're killing me with that fucking Japanese horror shit. Ugh. Some of it is just like wrong. I'm like, why would somebody even think about that? Because, man, Asians are crazy. I respect the shit out of them, but fuck, they've got some extreme taste, man. Woo. Glad nobody brought. I mean, Hostel was like bad enough. Like I could deal if I had to. I could sit through a Hostel movie. Those fucking Asian fucking gore porn fucking things are insane. Oh. Anyway, so Friday the 13th, I'm kind of surprised that was as low as it was. I'm surprised
that's like the top 3 when you think of horror franchises, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, people don't. It's interesting because you just automatically think of Jason and all that stuff.
Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger.
Right. I'm just really surprised that didn't rank higher. You like the Friday 13th movies, right?
I like some of them, yeah.
Here we go. Which ones?
I like 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Of fucking course you do.
10 be my favorite. Jason X, where he goes to space.
Oh
Fuck
my
yeah.
God.
Fuck yeah.
To be fair, I didn't sit through the whole movie. I saw parts of it for what it was, and knowing your taste and the space horror kind of thing. Like, I get it.
It's
it wasn't
such
that bad.
a fun movie.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah. 6 is that?
That's Jason Lives. It's got Tom Matthews
Yeah.
with the lightning in
The
the
man
beginning.
behind the mask.
Yeah.
That one. Oh, that one's pretty rough. That I didn't care for.
7 is the psychic girl. That's the New Blood.
Yeah.
That's like Carrie fights Jason, pretty much. That's what that movie is.
Right.
8 is Jason Takes Manhattan, which is just off the rails.
Yeah.
He's only in Manhattan for like 10 minutes at the end.
Right.
Most of the rest of the movie's
Just
on like
getting
a
there.
boat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then 9 is Jason Goes to Hell, which might have been the first Jason movie I ever saw.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was late to the game on that one. That's a weird one. That kind of nobody likes that movie because it throws off the origin story of Jason and what he is.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen all of them, I think. At least, if not completely, I've seen all of them, like in part,
The Corey Feldman one I like though too.
I thought that one was good.
Right?
That was 4.
Yeah.
Yes. 3 was 3 was marred because it was supposed to be 3D.
Yeah,
so
I did watch it on a VHS tape, which wasn't 3D,
right,
but all the
and
effects,
it looked stupid.
yeah,
So that was marred by that. But I'll say this again: slasher type movies like that, like I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a huge. When I was a kid, I was, like I said, when I was a young tween, I thought that shit was badass. Now I'm not so crazy about it, but the premise is behind the first one and even the second one, but the whole man, brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Like people live for all the gruesome murder scenes, and I'm like, well, I'm not into that. But the story part of it and his origin and his mother, all that, I'm like, oh, that's brilliant storytelling. So for that alone, I think it deserves praise. But I mean, it was a trendsetter.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, that and Halloween.
Yeah.
Evil Dead. Not to give away too much, but I'm going to be talking about that in a few minutes, so we don't need to dwell on Evil Dead just yet. Children of the Corn.
It's funny because I don't know if I've seen the first one all the way through, but I think I remember watching the second one as a kid.
Okay, of course.
And I think there's like 10 of them now, right?
I don't know. There's a lot, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Cool movie. I always thought it was just weird. I had a hard time understanding it and following it. I'm sure I wouldn't. I've seen it several times, but years and years ago. And I did watch it somewhat more recently again, but I came in like halfway through it and I was like, I don't know. This movie still kind of confuses me. Book was cool, but I don't, even then I still just, the story was kind of odd to me. What about you? Since you kind of are a children of the corn.
I am.
Well, maybe not the corn, but you're a country girl. You kind of lived out in the middle of nowhere where there could be some malachite fucking dude living out there. You never saw it?
Yeah, my house is surrounded by cornfields. So...
Yeah, that's true. You are now. You are
currently
children of the corn.
Yep, I am. Yep, never saw it. Don't know.
It's probably best that you don't.
Is that one where they were building the baseball field?
Field of Dreams?
I think you're talking about Field of Dreams.
Excellent horror picture, by the way.
Huh?
Excellent horror film, by the way. Field of Dreams.
No. It's an excellent movie, though. It's a really good movie. Kind of stupid, actually, in some ways, but it's good.
Basically, the kids have like this cult that they worship this guy, basically, right? And they kill all the parents? Or?
Yeah. It's way more complicated than that. I don't know. Anyway, I know it's really popular with people, so unfortunately we don't have too much to say about it. And then real quick before we get to your segment, the last thing was Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean,
gotta give it up to Freddy, dude.
Yeah.
Got it. Robert Englund, did an incredible job. Just, I don't know that anybody else in that role would have made it work the way he did. It was so him, like he just embodied that so amazingly. And he's such a cool guy, you know what I mean? Like he's not a fucking evil douchebag like that. Like he's a great guy. Like we talked about before, we loved him on V.
Yeah. I got to beat him. He's a super fucking cool dude, man.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
waited
I knew other
2
people
hours in line, but we met him and he's awesome.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool guy.
Favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Has to be 3.
Fuck yes.
Right?
I'm with you on that one. I fucking love Dream
I do
Warriors.
like the second one a lot, though.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the first one I saw when I was a kid.
That was the first one I saw.
Yeah, and that one gets a bad rap because they kind of mess with his story,
bit,
but it's
but
like, dude, it's an awesome film,
it
man.
was
It's
good.
really good.
Yeah, but yeah, I liked, 2 was the first one I saw, then I saw 1, and then I went to the theater. I saw it at the fucking
third one?
theater. Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
saw Dream
awesome,
Warriors
dude.
at the theater, man. And of course, the Dokken theme
Fuck
song.
yeah.
We're the Dream Warriors.
Best song ever created. At least one of them. I always give it up to Dream Warriors, dude. I love that fucking
man,
tune.
I have a George Lynch statue in my living room.
Nice.
A little one. I have a little George Lynch statuette in my living room. So you're not going to get an argument from me, man. I'm all about some George Lynch and Dokken. Dream Warriors, great song.
And I really like
Great
Freddy's
movie.
Dead. I like that one.
Okay, I only saw that once. So, yeah, I mean, again, another, the Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Sorry, I can't say that. Nightmare on Elm Street. Those 3 are iconic and trend-setting, for better or worse.
They're like the big 4 of metal.
Yeah,
pretty much is
kind of. Yeah. So, yeah, you guys did a good job. What are you laughing about?
Sorry. I'm gonna make another bad joke.
Go ahead.
The Freddy got fingered in that series is great too.
Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Daddy, would you like some sausages? Freddie got fingered. That's a whole other Freddie.
I know.
Tom Green, a super nice guy. I got to be on his Tom Green show, whatever, live one night on Skype, Skype or whatever.
Did you?
Yeah, for like 10 minutes.
Did you tell me about that?
I don't think I did.
No.
This is a while ago.
The fuck? I didn't.
He was on tour. He goes, yeah, I'm going on live. You guys want to call in, just call in. So I called in. I waited for like 10 minutes in line, and he got me on air for like 5 minutes. It was fucking cool.
That's awesome. All right. Well, good job, folks. Thank you so much
Way to go.
That was awesome.
for that. And I think nobody's going to get any kind of prize. You know, there's the no prize for it. But as a treat for all of you, I think that your payback for that is my Goomba over here, Vito, is going to lay one of his delicious succulent tips.
I was just say succulent tits.
Succulent tits.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
We're back to the Arnold episode now.
I think he might be up for some succulent tips. But, some succulent tips, you know, like beef tips right on your lips. No, in all seriousness, I think it is time. Megan's losing it over there. I think it is time, don't you, that for you to lay one on them,
A little
man.
bit.
Just a little bit. A little bit. Lay it on them just a little bit. And it's time for Vito's tips.
So you're looking for a tip, huh? Well, I got a tip for you. So let's say you find out this serial killer in a mask. He's coming around town, taking out guys from the other organizations in the area, right? Now you may be thinking, this is good business for me, right? He's taking out my competition. But here's the ticker. He comes in next week, he whacks one of your guys. Now what are you gonna do? You gotta take him out now. Now you find ice picks. You shove these ice picks in his balls to show him a lesson. You may be thinking, Vito, I can't do this. This is a disgrace under God. No. He disgraced you and your family organization. You don't take that. You take him out. You don't be a bad guy. You be an honorable guy. Do what's right and do it right. Capiche?
All right, my paisan. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Always is.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to hear from that guy, giving you some good advice. solid words to live by.
The old words of wisdom over here.
All right. Moving on from words of wisdom to words of something. It is time. It's time to talk about our top 5 favorite, or I don't even know if you want to call it favorite. We're just calling it the top 5 we chose.
Our personal top 5.
Our personal top 5 scary movies. Just scary movies.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty broad.
So general.
Yeah. Top 5 scary movies that had the most impact on us for one reason or another. And as always, what we're going to do is we're going to go around with our number 5s. Each list our number 5s. Then we'll move on to number 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we will go back through and we will discuss each movie more in depth and our reasons for it. It's just quicker and easier that way. I like that shit that way.
He likes it a lot.
I like it like that. I like it like that. I'm sorry for that one.
He thinks you're freaky and he likes you a lot.
We need some Diane Ford. I love Diane Ford. Do you know who Diane Ford is?
I don't have any idea what you two are talking about, as
Oh,
usual.
boy.
And I like you a lot. I think you're freaky.
They're a South African
Rap
techno
dance.
dance. Yeah,
They're great.
it's the most unique thing
So
I think I've ever seen.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm so mad I didn't go to that concert with you and
It
Chris.
was so fucking fun, dude.
Man. They actually, him and Chris Wisco actually went to go see them at the Riv, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dude, that would have been amazing. I wish I would have gone to
That
that.
was great.
I was a little late to the game. They were already into him, and I had heard him. I don't know, but it caught on with me over time. Baby's on fire. Boom. People at home are like, "Oh fucking God, are you
You
serious?"
fucking douchebags.
It's just
Unsubscribe right now.
Please don't
Like-
do that.
no, please don't.
You guys, please stop.
Yeah. we'll stop talking about techno rap, okay?
Yeah.
Let's get into the scares. Getting into the scares. I got me a case of the scares. So, number 5. Vito, let's start with you.
A little movie called Ghost Ship from 2002.
Yeah. Ghost Ship.
That
was-
terrible movie. It's not
I don't
terrible.
know, man. I know. It's got its fans. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about it. All right, yeah.
Yeah,
Ghost
I always
Ship.
wanted to see that one, so I'm interested to see what you say.
Mhm.
Hear what you say.
Well, you'll see it later too if you watch the video.
That's
so.
true.
Yeah. That's true. All right, should I do me?
Let's do you.
Okay, you do you.
Keep doing you.
I'm just going to keep on doing me. My number 5 scary movie is Evil Dead,
Ooh.
the first one. I could have been said like the whole series, but no, since I'm talking about what made the impact. Yeah, the first Evil Dead movie. I think it was made in 1979, came out in 1981.
It sounds about
I
right.
think that's right. Yeah, because I think the sequel came out in like 1985.
Yeah, isn't the sequel just a remake of the first one pretty much?
No, it's not.
Oh,
A lot of
okay.
people think that, and
Right.
it's not. And when we talk about it, I'll explain it.
Okay.
But yeah, that one, somewhat breaking, because it's a pretty violent, gory movie, man. But like, yeah,
Done in a campy way. That's not really.
done in a campy, just utterly ridiculous. Can't take it seriously way. It still makes me cringe at times, but that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right.
All right.
Evil Dead. Megan.
My number 5 is Lost Boys.
Nice.
Bad.
Bad.
What?
I hate that movie.
What?
Cannot stand that movie. Sorry, Megan.
Well,
I
there's our
I
first-
always shit on your movies whenever you bring them up, like Twister and.
I know, man.
Really? You gonna bring up
I'm
Twister
sorry.
right now?
I'm sorry.
Really?
She's gonna give you a twister. You keep talking shit, man. Right on the fucking.
And my
nurple.
girl, isn't my girl from Twister in this movie, Lost Boys?
Jamie Gertz. Yeah, she was a star.
Mm-hmm.
Hot
Oh,
as
really?
fuck
Yeah.
too in that movie.
Yeah, she
Oh,
is.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about that when we get into
Vito.
getting into that. So
Sorry, I just.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. See, everybody thinks it's going to be like me and you or whatever going head to head about it, but it always seems to be you two. You two are the ones that are at odds, man.
One an episode, it seems. Minimum.
Yeah, pretty much.
At least, yeah. We're only at number 5. We got a lot more to discuss. So, all right. To recap, the number 5s are
Ghost Ship.
Evil Dead.
And Lost Boys.
All right. And that
It's a
was
good mix.
Lost Boys was what, 87?
Sure.
Yeah, I think it was 87. Yeah. All right. So, moving on to number 4. Number 4.
So this is a TV miniseries from 1990 called It.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we've talked plenty
Yeah.
about that before. We'll talk a little more about it. Yeah, that I got no complaints about that being in there. That's a great one. I have a Stephen King. I have a Stephen King in my list too, but
Ooh.
it's not it.
As do I.
Uh-oh.
It's not it.
Oh, okay. Not it. Not it. Tag, you're it. My number 4. This is probably the least mainstream or whatever you want to call it known movie in my list. My number 4 is a movie from 1979 called Nosferatu the Vampire, starring Klaus Kinski, directed by Werner Herzog. It is a German movie, and yeah, it's the only. It was so tough because, like I said, I'm so into vampire. I love vampires. I love Dracula. I love Count Orlok and all that business, or whatever they want to call him, depending on who owns the rights. It's really hard, man. So many iconic ones, but this one for me personally was the most impactful, and I will get into why when we discuss it. But yeah, so I picked a foreign movie.
Nice.
So anyway, Megan.
Mine, I was very happy to hear you chose a TV series because I didn't realize mine was a TV thing. because I watched it on Movie. And it took me forever to find it because this is one that like really impacted me. But I didn't know what the hell it was called. All I had was like the premise of what it was. So it took me forever to find this movie. And then I kept forgetting what it was called. So I had to write it down like in multiple places. But it is Masters of Horror, Incidents on and Off a Mountain Road.
I remember Masters of Horror.
Yep, so it was one of those.
Nice.
It was, I think, season 1 or something like that. Series 1 or
Nice.
episode 1 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen it, but from what you told me about it, it sounds pretty
fucked up.
Yeah. Twisty. What a twist. What a twist. So, okay. All right. So, recapping for everybody at home, taking notes. Number 4s are
It.
Nosferatu the Vampire and
Masters of Horror, Incident on and Off a Mountain Road.
nice.
Yeah. Good.
I am pleased. I am pleased with our choices. I like that they're diverse, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when we do this, that we have a lot of crossover and stuff. So this time, not so much. You, not so much. All right, it's inside joke. Number 3, like Dimebag would say, 3. Sorry. Anyway.
So for me, it's going to be VHS.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a popular one. I saw that when I was doing research for this. I saw that listed in a lot of websites and critics, fan critics, horror movie critics put that in like their top 50s at least. You know?
Yeah.
So I've seen bits of it, seen parts of it, but there's obviously something there.
There sure is, man.
So is it it's a series though, right?
Yeah, there's 3 of them so far, but I do not like the 3rd one. I only like 1 and 2.
Okay.
Now I have.
Whoa.
Wait, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
I know.
You can't just glaze over that.
Whoa, sequel, man. Whoa.
You guys calm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I just wrapping my head around this.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, we'll go into it when we get to it. But yeah, for me, the VHS series, just 1 and 2. There's aspects of VHS Viral I like, and we'll get into it. But on the whole, see you later.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So my number 3, I guess, is probably a more typical. Well, I say it's a more typical choice, and yet I don't think it made it into the listener poll. Which is, of course, Romero's Night of the Living Dead, the original one, black and white. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Man, yeah. I mean, another, definitely impactful when I saw it, and impacted a lot of people. I mean, created the genre, basically. But, yeah. Feel kind of obvious. It's funny because when I picked it, I went, oh, well, this is be one everybody's going to pick, and they didn't. I'm like, oh. We even got Return of the Living Dead's in there and stuff, but not Night of the Living Dead. So it's interesting. Megan, your 3rd.
I might get a little flack from this, but I really don't give a care. I'm going with the Blair Witch Project.
Wow. Who would give you flack for that? Not you're going to give? Oh,
God
boy.
damn it, Vito!
Don't like the first one at all, but I do like the second one a lot.
Of course you do.
Did you hear that, folks? I mean, he doesn't like Blair Witch Project at all, but fucking Book of Shadows.
Blair Witch 2?
He loves.
I do. I think I have the DVD here somewhere, don't I?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah,
It's somewhere in there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
does
it is by Larry
does it
over
still have the 99-cent price sticker on it?
No, I bought it for more than 99 cents. But I did get it at a half price book.
$1.99.
It was probably $3.99 or
Then
something.
you
like
got
that.
ripped off.
Dude, I saw that in the theater, man.
Yeah.
I saw Blair Witch in the theater.
I did too, but
Yeah,
it was
me too.
after I knew that it wasn't a real movie. So that might have tainted my thing. But I rewatched it. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get into
Yeah.
Blair
It's
Witch.
even like a found footage
I
thing,
know,
dude.
and arguably the first found footage, which it's not. It was 1989's Incident at Lake County, which was an alien abduction film. Or if you want to go farther than that, it's Cannibal Holocaust from like 82.
Oh.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. So recapping, Trace,
VHS.
Night of the Living Dead.
And the Blair Witch Project.
I support Blair Witch Project being in there. It
Thank
totally
you.
belongs there. All right. Dos.
Number 2
Dewey.
is
Dewey. Yeah, number 2, Vito. Sorry.
2 is Phantasm 2.
Oh, okay. Cool. There you go.
Yep.
Should have known.
Should have known.
Should have known. Should have, might have, ought to known. All right, cool. Yeah, well, we'll talk a little more. I know we already talked about it some, but my number 2 is another one that was already discussed, not in this episode, but in the very first episode of Geeking Poetic. We talked about, we even did a spoof of it and a teaser, and it is 1979's television miniseries as aired on CBS, Salem's Lot.
Mm-hmm.
That is my choice for number 2, and
I'm sticking to it.
that's my choice, and I stand by it. All right, so Megan, your number 2.
My number 2 happens to also be one we've talked about already in that same episode you just mentioned.
Okay.
And I went with Misery.
That is a good and
Very good choice, Megan.
Very good, right?
that's a good movie.
How does
Not
that
one
one
that-
not like fuck with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just right off the top of my head, it belongs in there, but it's one of those you wouldn't automatically have thought of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't one that automatically popped in my head. But as soon as I thought, I was like, nope, that's in my top 5.
Yeah, another movie where there's images of that movie that have stayed with me all these years.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Poor James Caan.
Yeah.
But all right, so recapping, our number 2 is
Phantasm 2.
Salem's Lot.
And Misery.
Okay, I think that's
Another good.
yeah.
Good round
I
table
think
there.
I think we're kicking some serious ass with our list personally, but I digress. We are now at the numero uno, number 1.
The head honchos.
This is like it. This is the scary movie that we, put up on that pedestal that made us who we are. In a matter
For
of
some
speaking.
of us, anyway.
For some of us, yeah. Well, so Vito is always starting with you. You're number 1.
Child's Play 2.
And in true fashion, it had to be a C.
It
His
had
number
to
1
be.
had to be, could not be the number 1 in the
Nope.
series. It has to be a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
When did that one come out?
90, I believe. Yeah, 1990.
Yeah. Okay. I saw it. I've seen it. I've seen it several times, actually. Yeah. Interesting. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts behind that. So my number 1 is a movie from 1973. I think it's 73 it came out. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah, it was 73. My mom read the book while she was pregnant with me. And I really think that has something to do with this. Because this is not only my number 1 scary movie of all time, it's honestly one of my, I guess calling it favorite is weird, but it's one of my favorite. I think it's one of the best movies of all time. And it's also one of the number 1 most psychologically scarring things in my life. And I'll get into it more, but 1973's William Friedkin's, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist. Oh, man.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your number 1?
My number 1 is The Exorcist.
Oh, freaking copycat.
Copycatters over here.
We had to have at least one crossover.
Yeah, well, that works because I'm going to have plenty to say about that one. So, all right. Yeah, then, so the number 1, boy, talk about opposite ends of the spectrum there. So the number 1 choices we have are The Exorcist and Child's Play 2.
I dare you to find another podcast where their top 5 has those 2 movies back to back at the number 1 spot. I fucking dare you.
Do it. Yeah, that's something. All right, man. Well, we've been going for a while now, so let's just not even beat around the proverbial bush. Let's get into, let's start talking about the movies. So let's start with your number 5, man.
Let me get this yawn out of the way before I start.
Yeah, getting tired of this shit?
No, it's just been a long day.
Yeah, it has been a long day.
We come here late and then we record,
Yeah.
Okay.
And your Who Garden's probably not helping.
It's gone, yeah. But, okay, so number 5 for me was Ghost Ship.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. Okay.
So, this, man, when I saw this movie, the opening scene, I had never seen anything like that before. Now, I might spoil some things about the movie for you guys if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, if people don't already know that this is not a spoiler-free show, so there's always good. We put it in the description below, but there's just tons of spoilers. So if you haven't seen some of these movies and you don't want to know, then
hit mute for a minute.
Yeah, you might want to skip. So anyway, go ahead, go shit.
So the opening scene is pretty much all these people on the deck of the ship, of this cruise ship, and you don't know who it is, but there's somebody off screen that is tightening this wire on the ship, and this wire gets so tight that it snaps. And as it snaps, it comes and cuts literally through all the passengers on the ship at different points of people's bodies, depending how tall they are. And then you see the aftermath. People literally cut in half with their guts spilling out. They're trying to grab their legs to put their bodies back together.
Yeah.
Because that's going to work.
Yeah. And I just remember seeing that and being like, holy shit, this is one of the most incredible openings of a movie I have ever fucking seen. And it just gets better from there. Because then it cuts back to like modern time and you find out what the story is. Basically, a salvage crew are in a bar talking about what they did for that day. And this guy comes up to him and says, hey, I'm an airplane pilot. I saw this ship that's just in the middle of nowhere. I think it's up for grabs. You guys want to come with me? You can find the treasure on it, but I want 20% or whatever of whatever we find. And they agree to this. They go and find the ship in the middle of nowhere. They board the ship, and weird shit happens.
Yeah. I'd say that's suffice to say.
Yes. And I am a sucker for just, salvage ships that have gone missing, Bermuda Triangle shit. I just love that scenario where this ship just it disappears for 40, 50 years. No one's ever seen it after that. And what happens if you stumble upon it? Like, what mysteries can it tell you? What history has the ship gone through? Is it really a ghost ship? Has it gone where no man has gone before and picked up something along the way? Now it's bringing it back. That's just a fascinating topic to me. And this movie there's a lot of badass imagery. There's a little girl. She's kind of like the ghost. She guides Juliana Margulies, who is like the main character of the movie.
Right.
She does a great job at it. And you find out the history of this ship. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to spoil it for you, especially Megan, because you got to see this movie. It's awesome.
I was going to say, wait, we're just getting into it. Tell me more.
No.
Yeah.
Gotta watch the movie.
Damn it, Vito.
Sorry.
Well, that could be one for one of these days when we're talking about doing movies.
You're gonna have to make me watch it.
Yeah.
Doing movie roundtable kind of things. Yeah. I don't think I ever ended up sitting through the whole thing. I saw the beginning, and I was like, oh boy, okay, but utterly ridiculous, but.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Mythbusters did a segment on this movie specifically.
Yeah, that's right. That's
did
right.
they?
Yeah, they used a pig instead of a human, and they got a cord to whip, and it didn't slice the pig in half.
No.
It just left like a sort of a bruise on it.
Right.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was really disappointed.
What a letdown.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get enough tension on it.
Yeah.
Then. They did
They
something
should've-
wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, it wasn't haunted.
That's
Exactly.
true. It needed that
That's true.
spiritual energy, paranormal energy to get in there and give it that special oomph.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So. Yeah, not generally my kind of movie, as I said, but that I mean, it did its job. I mean, that when that movie came out and that whole opening scene, I mean, like, man, that was the talk of the town. Which, you know, by the 21st century, it's not an easy task anymore, man. You know, because we'd already seen it all, you know, and everything, and it was, that got people talking, and you know, had a good cast and everything. So yeah, like I said, not my kind of movie, but I can't argue it. It's interesting that it seemed like it was a big deal when it came out. Like a lot of people, I mean, even like you said, even Mythbusters even did a thing about it. So I mean, it's a known big movie, but it's just interesting that it seems like it's a little forgotten now. Other than by,
and it's gotten a bad rap. I think I see a lot of people negatively criticizing the movie.
Oh, okay.
But I've loved it this whole time, man.
I remember when it came out, I knew a lot of people that thought it was badass. So it just, I don't know. But then again,
you know how people are, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. But then again, you know, like I said, nowadays people are just, they want everything to be like the Japanese extreme horror kind of stuff, or they think it's weak, and it's like, oh, okay.
And I'm not one that's really into ghosts movies, even the ghosts. So for me to put this on the list says something to me that it made that much of an impact on me.
There you go. Yeah, see, I like ghost stuff. I like ghosty stuff. Casper. You know.
Totally the same realm.
The ghost realm.
Ooh, or the ghost dimension from a little movie called Paranormal Activity 6.
You know, Paranormal 6.
I think it's 6 or 7, which I like. I like 5 and 6, so I don't like the other ones.
I didn't even know they were that far along. The last one I think I knew about was like the 3rd or 4th one.
Yeah, the 5th one is the marked ones. It's like these Latino kids get possessed and they get like these superpowers in like their town. That was actually pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking haunted chalupas and shit. Hey man, don't eat that. She's fucking haunted, yo.
Wow.
Meg, you'd be all about that though.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, would you how about this? If they found out that there was a Taco Bell.
And I've got the perfect name for this movie.
All right. There was a Taco Bell that was literally like haunted. Like they knew that it was haunted and there was like fucked up shit. And they were like, man, we've got all sorts of proof it's haunted. But here's the thing, Megan. We will let you go in there by yourself for like a weekend and you can have as much of the Taco Bell.
Wait, you didn't read the contract yet. There's a lot of stipulations.
You can have as much of the Taco Bell as you want, but you have to stay in there for the whole weekend.
Okay.
All by yourself.
Yes.
But there's a monster that's haunted in the restaurant.
Yes.
Even if it's the Chalupa Cabra.
Yeah. Oh.
And we're done. And that's going to be the next movie we start writing about. So, the Chalupa Cabra coming to YouTube 2020. That's awesome. Wow.
That is amazing.
It's probably been done already.
I'm sure.
People. But
we'll do it better.
Yeah. Taco Bell always
If I get
does.
to eat Taco Bell during the middle of it,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's too bad you don't still work at Taco Bell because then we would have like the inn to be able to go there and film. Man.
I might be able to make that happen.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
I might have to drive a ways to do it, but
Drive to Oklahoma?
not that far.
Okay. All right.
Not that far.
To make the Chalupa Cabra? It's worth it, son. It's worth it. Load up the car. We're going to Oklahoma. Anyway. All right. Well, yeah, no. Yeah, go what?
I could sweet talk the guy that's at my Taco Bell.
Yeah.
He'll let us in.
You're there often enough.
He is. They know us.
Yeah.
We always give him a different name, though. He's like, who are we today?
What, you and John, you mean?
Me and John,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
John's usually Francesca.
Francesca.
Or, Francesco. Depends on the day.
Oh boy.
Wait, you give him fake names at the drive-thru, or you go in there?
We go in.
He doesn't
So he
realize
knows it's us.
Oh, okay.
He comes over and he's like, "So what's our name
I
today?"
got
But they always have to ask for a name,
Yeah,
so you
we
just
give him whatever.
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like call your name out to let you know you're
At
instead of
Taco
a-
Bell?
Yeah.
What kind of Taco Bell is this?
Every Taco Bell.
Not ones I've gone to. They just say hey, 77 or whatever your order number is.
Wow.
Or they don't even usually say. They just put the food out there and you got to decode. Okay, I think that's mine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, our guy usually brings it out to us now.
Oh,
Yeah. Times I go to Taco Bell, they ask, yeah.
Really?
What fucking ghetto ass Taco Bells you go to,
Right?
man?
the only time I have my name called when I order food is at like Panera.
Well, they
And
do
that's it.
I go
Oh,
to
that's
a bunch
weird.
of places they do that, man. Go to
Yeah.
fucking Surly Taco Bell. Fucking the Surly Taco Surly Bell. Well, anyway. Anything more we need to
to
say
business.
about Ghost Ship?
No, other than you should immediately watch the movie.
And make your own
Conclusions of
conclusions. Yeah. Now, was this a series at all or just one?
it. It was just one. But the makers of Ghost Ship tried to make a Halloween movie every year. They made 13 Ghosts.
Oh, okay.
And maybe another one. I think it was
Yeah.
like Joel Silver and
Yeah.
I forgot what the
Right.
Yeah, 13 Ghosts was pretty cool though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think like this movie didn't do very well, so they couldn't continue on doing it every year.
No.
So,
Yeah.
But
Next year we do the Halloween episode. We should make it about Halloween movies. Like we should make ourselves watch movies that that we've never seen
yeah.
and like choose from them or critique them or something, because there's so many. And I know there's a lot of them that like they get brought up. I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Like one that I think somebody did mention. We should say when we did the poll, when we listed the 5. Well, there's more than 5, all the ties and everything. There was a bunch of ones that we didn't mention because there was a lot of ones that only got mentioned once, like old things like The Fly, The Incredible Shrinking Man, The Craft.
Oh, The Craft. Wow, yeah.
Serpent in the Rainbow. There was but like one that got mentioned that I've always wanted to see was 1408.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen parts of that. It was actually pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, and I mean, I figure we're gonna do Stephen King again too, so we could talk about it. But it just made me realize, like, man, there's like so many potentially like good movies for a list like this. I mean, again, we're talking about ones that influenced us more, made an impact in the past. But yeah, next time I'd really like to delve into some more stuff, and that's why I like these polls, because then you people suggest stuff or you bring up stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, interesting. I want to see that now.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's move on. My number 5 was 1981's The Evil Dead. Specifically, like I said, now the whole series is cool, but for me, it was the first movie. I actually saw it first. A lot of people saw Evil Dead 2 first. And like you brought up earlier, I think there's confusion about, because they kind of go back a little bit. They show him and his girlfriend and all that stuff, and they refilm it. It's not a refilm. It's supposed to, in a weird way. It's hard to explain how they did it, but it is a sequel. It is supposed to be a sequel. All the things that happened in the first movie still
Carry
happened.
on, and yeah.
Still did happen. But I know most people out there are probably going to say, oh man, I would have gone with Evil Dead 2, because that is considered the real classic of the bunch, The first one is great. Army of Darkness is great. You know, all that. But Evil Dead 2 is like the iconic one. I love Evil Dead 2 for what it is. But it didn't impact me the way, because I saw Evil Dead when it first hit video. It was probably like 82, 83. And I'd never seen a movie that grim before. And at the same time, there was, the first Evil Dead wasn't funny, but there still was sort of like a real dark humor to some of it, because it was so ridiculous. The tree raping the chick, and just a lot of the the way they did stuff, it was like it was almost funny, but it was so horrible at the same time. Which, I mean, Raimi and Campbell, you know, they came from that. They came from a comedy inspired background. When they first decided they were going to start trying to make movies and stuff, they wanted to make comedy. And then they realized that I guess it was basically like they didn't have the means really to do it right, to do it the way they wanted to do it. So then they ended up saying, well, what's the next, you know, what else can we do? And at the time in the late 70s, it was like, you know, it was all those kind of like, you know, sorority house girls, you know, bad horror movies. And they were like, oh, we can do this. We can make this happen, you know. But then they added in comedy into it, especially obviously by the time they got to part 2, because it's a hilarious movie. Still somewhat terrifying at times, but it's mostly funny. So I think that added a really interesting take on it. And as much as Evil Dead 2 is great because there's so many classic scenes and funny lines, one-liners and things in there, Evil Dead 1 just, that got inside my head. Like, that freaked me out. And I saw it, you know, again, I was 9. So I really shouldn't have been seeing that. But to me, that, I don't know, it just, again, as great as Evil Dead 2 is, I'm just really surprised that people are so much more smitten with that one, because to me, this is the only one out of the whole series that is a true fucking horror movie. Like, have you seen the first Evil Dead movie?
I'm sure I've seen parts of it, but for me, I think I saw Army of Darkness first.
Oh, yeah.
Then I saw Evil Dead 2.
Well, you were too young,
yeah,
you know. And what about you? Have you seen any of those movies?
I've seen Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure about the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen Army of Darkness in a while, but
Yeah,
I remember
me either.
really, really liking it when I was younger.
It's funny. It's a good movie. Yeah. I mean, Army of Darkness is none of the Raimi Evil Dead movies are you know, bad or anything. You know what I never watched, and people are like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I never watched Ash vs. the Evil Dead, the TV series, and I heard that was great. People were raving about that a lot. Well, I saw some people bashing it too, but most people I knew were like, oh no, it's great. If you like Evil Dead and you liked Army of Darkness and stuff, you're gonna dig it. But this movie was just really disturbing. But the reason why I think this one, I will watch this, whereas I won't watch a lot of the other like super disturbing, gory movies, is because this was so fantastical and ridiculous. You know, like I can't take this seriously, you know, like I would a Saw or something like that. And I've always been interested in things like Sumerian Book of the Dead, you know, like I'm always really intrigued with any of that kind of stuff, like ancient religion, ancient occult kind of stuff. So that was what really kind of like lured me in, was that whole aspect of it, you know. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a great movie still. It's I have to be in the right mood, because it's, like I said, anymore, it's not really my cup of tea. Although I've seen it so many times, you become kind of numb to that shit, but for better or worse. But yeah, I think it's a great movie. If I had to recommend one movie of that style, you know what I mean, that this would be the one that I would recommend to people. So,
all right,
that's it. Evil Dead. So, what your number 5 was?
1987's Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. All right. So,
lay us on it. Lay it on us.
Here we go. Here we go with the debate here.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not usually like a big vampire person.
Okay.
But I enjoyed this one. And having the vampires be like teenage boys and stuff, that's when boys are most susceptible.
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 Yeah. That's a hard word to say.
Yeah.
It is.
Susceptible.
Yeah.
to outside forces, and they just want to fit in somewhere and stuff. So having them be vampires and luring a guy in, that's kind of scary because that could be very plausible to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
And using the chick to do it, that's not cool.
Smart.
Smart. Yeah, exactly. Chick will get you every time.
Yeah, ain't nothing gonna make you give up your mortal soul quicker than some booty.
Mm-hmm.
Booty.
Every time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that was another one that was just, it was a good combination of scares, just frightening shit, but combined with like humor,
Yeah.
And
the vampires, they were just like so fucking cool looking and shit. I was like, how would you not want to be part of them?
Right. I wanted to be part of them.
Not necessarily be a vampire, but you wanted to be with them.
I wanted to be part of them. That movie came out, I was 14 years old.
Perfect.
So
Prime
I was
age.
walking around in in jean jackets and leather jackets and wishing my hair was longer at that point, and solved that. But super metal kid, you know what I mean? Like, and here were these dudes on motorcycles with long hair, and they look cool, and like all the girls that I knew at the time when that movie came out in '87, they were all about the Lost Boys. Like they all had their favorite Lost Boy that they lusted after or whatever, and so I was like, dude, I
gotta be one of those Lost Boys.
Exactly, because like what she just said, fucking, when you're a teenager, man, and it's like you could think of all these things and be like, well, it's like it's gonna hurt, it's gonna fuck you up, you're never gonna see daylight again, you're gonna have to kill people, you're gonna have to do horrible things, you're gonna have to sleep upside down in this fucking cave, all this kind of shit.
But
And you're like, but really fucking hot chicks are gonna be all over you, and you're like, I'm in.
Sign me up.
Fucking in. Here's my neck. Bite me, motherfucker, because I'm in. It's like, you get to ride around all night on a motorcycle, you grow your hair long, have real hot Jamie Gertz chicks fucking named Star, like hanging all over you, fucking trying to suck blood out of your vampire dick and shit, and, like a fucking suck it like a straw, like a blood straw.
Jesus Christ.
Right out that urethra.
And then you're like, yeah, I'm
whatever, baby.
Yeah, man,
do it.
You're 14, 15 years old, and you're like, yeah, all right, I'm in. Sounds good to me. I mean, obviously now I'm much smarter and more, finesse than that. I wouldn't do that. There better be at least like a good like medical and dental plan to go along with it or something. But yeah, man, I love that movie.
Yeah, I was reading in my research and stuff that it was originally supposed to be like little boys, like little kids. And that's why it's Lost Boys. And that's why he needed a mother for the boys. You don't need a mother for teenage 18-year-old boys and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't either until I said that. I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of fucking sense. It's like, why, the whole point about him needing a mother for them is kind of mute because they're grown, but
yeah.
Okay.
I never
It's
thought
80s movie logic. Don't gotta make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very Peter Pan with the little boys.
Yeah.
Well, the Lost Boys. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Peter Pan. Yeah. I mean, I never see. I took it like Max wasn't really looking for a mother for David and those guys. It was more
The little boy.
It was more the thought that they were going to be getting
More
like
boys.
Corey Haim and Corey Feldman and the younger boys, that they were going to end up like getting them eventually. And then that was like, well, they're going to need a mother, so that they don't all wind up being like David and his gang, so much. Anyway, that's the way I always kind of took it. But I never thought, I'm so glad they didn't go the younger kids route.
It wouldn't have been the movie it is.
No,
'cause
not at all. It would have been fucking stupid.
Yeah, the thing is the cool teenage vampires that every
Yeah.
boy wanted to be.
That's what made it popular at the time. Like I said, because it was all the teenage girls that I knew in high school. Because I was right in the middle of high school.
Mm-hmm.
They all wanted to, hook up with those dudes, Kiefer Sutherland, and all them.
Duh.
Right, all those dudes. And then all the dudes were like, "Oh man, I want to be like that. I want to live like that." Riding motorcycles at night, long hair, jack boots, leather jackets,
Do whatever you want.
cranking up some fucking badass In Excess songs. I like that soundtrack.
I was gonna say that's a pretty good soundtrack too.
I've grown to hate that "Cry Little Sister" song though. Everybody loves that song. I don't. Again, here we go with my children hate. I don't generally like songs that have like kid choruses like that.
Okay.
I mean, I can tolerate "Another Brick in the Wall" by Floyd with the "We Don't Need No." I can tolerate that kind of, because it's a great song and it's got one of the best guitar solos ever in it that he improvised. Fuck, guy's amazing. Anyway, but yeah, I would not have been into that movie if they would have gone more the like tween kid kind of route.
Like The Little Vampire starring Jonathan Lipnicki.
Oh no!
Oh gosh.
No, you guys don't know that one?
No.
I would watch that movie before I would watch The Lost Boys.
Yeah, well,
Wow.
you'd watch a lot of shit.
I would, yeah.
That other people would not. So
Yeah, I don't trust your judgment right now anyway. Doggone Twister.
to be fair, if you were closer in age to me and you had been because especially what little I know, what I know about you when you were a teenager and some of the things you were into, because you liked gothy things and you liked stuff and metal, and had you been my age and experienced it, I wonder if you would have had a different
Maybe.
attitude towards it. Because I know a lot of people that are younger that have seen Lost Boys after the fact and are like, I don't get it. I don't see what I do think this was kind of one of those had to be there when it happened movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. So moving on to number 4. Your number 4 was?
Is the TV miniseries It.
Well, I mean,
We've said a lot about this on our Stephen King episode.
we have talked, just since the beginning of this show, we've talked a lot about it. But I mean, real quick, just to kind of recap, I mean, why did this make your list?
So I was very young when I saw this. This came out in 1990. So I know I saw this when it was on TV. So I was like 8. And it freaked the fucking shit out of me, dude.
Yep.
I mean, that Pennywise in this version is just fucking scary. Yeah, now when you look at it, you're like, yeah, some of this shit's pretty goofy and it's funny, but not when you're 8 years old, man. It was fucking terrifying.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, I saw it when it premiered, but I was 17.
Yeah.
So it didn't resonate for me in the same way, but I can totally see why it would. Yeah, it's easy to now watch that and go, oh, that's so goofy or whatever, but I don't know, man. It's another one of those, like, kind of like I was just saying to you about Lost Boys. It's another one of those ones that if you were there at the time and you were the right age and you hadn't been exposed to all sorts of other, crazy shit that come out, has come out that makes that shit pale in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I think legit, it is legit. It is legit.
It's too legit.
Too legit for it.
Hey.
Too legit. Too legit. Addams Family. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I
do you remember
do.
the MC Hammer Addams Family song?
I had the fucking cassette tape, man.
Wow.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow.
Yep. Sure did.
They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live, play how they want to play. Addams Family. Why do I know that?
Do you guys do it in one of the cover bands?
No.
You should.
No. Don't give them
Halloween special.
Don't give them any ideas. I'm playing a Halloween gig with Underground Prophets. I play bass for a cover band called Underground Prophets. And this weekend we're playing a thing in Whiting, Indiana called Wickedly Whiting. It's a one-day event. that just takes over the whole town. Whiting's a really cool, small town there just outside of Chicago. And it's all, haunted parade and food and, costume contests and all that. But we're playing there outdoors. Ugh. It's going to be so fucking cold. We're playing that night, and we're going to do the time warp. And I get to sing all of the female parts.
Oh, yeah.
Of course I do. Yeah. So why not? I can hit the notes.
Yeah.
So, I can hit them notes. But yeah, no. Time warp, I'll do that. The Addams Family rap by MC Hammer. That's not going to happen.
Too bad.
Maybe with Ex-Girlfriend with the other cover band, because Rick would probably
Rap it for you.
Yeah, Rappin' Rick. Rappin' Rick Dangerfield, I call him. Like Rappin' Rodney. Anyway, yeah, I think we've already discussed it. It totally belongs in there. I think that's a great choice. So, all right, cool. Can we move?
Yeah, move for it.
I said move. Like a big truck. So my number 4 choice, people who know what that is, it's going to be like, oh my God, my number 4 choice is the Werner Herzog film from 1979, Nosferatu the Vampire. I saw this on cable when I was I didn't get cable until late in the game. I didn't get cable until 1987, 88, right around there, when I was halfway through high school. And so I would, as anybody would do, especially when you're a teenager in the 80s, I just watched it incessantly once I got it. I was just obsessed with it. And so there's all sorts of cool movies and shit, TV shows and things I'd never seen before. And one day I came home, and it was like it wasn't even like a dark, creepy night or anything. Totally not. It was like a late September, early October afternoon. So it was kind of getting sundownish or whatever, And I came home, and I was in the house by myself, and I turned on this movie. Pretty. I missed the very beginning of it, but pretty early in the movie, and I was just like, "What the hell is this?" And it was there's 2 versions of this. There's a German version, and then when they filmed this movie, they filmed every scene twice. They filmed it in German and they filmed it in English.
Kind of smart for them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rather than having filming it in German and then later having English actors overdub the voices, they said no. Everybody in the movie had to be bilingual. And do so there's different takes, what I mean? So if you watch the German version, it's not the same as the American version. Differences are subtle, but, still kind of cool. It's kind of like what they did with the original Dracula in 31. I think it was 31, with Bela Lugosi. That's a little different. It's 2 separate movies, but they filmed them at the same time. They filmed an American version, and then they filmed a Mexican version. Seriously, and there's a lot of people who think the Mexican version of the original Dracula is superior.
Really?
Wow.
I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but I've always wanted to see it because I love Bela Lugosi Dracula.
That's funny. James Rolfe, Angry Video Game Nerd, did a special on Dracula, like how he remembered it or he thought he saw scenes that weren't in it. I wonder.
Oh, yes, that's a great.
Did you see that one?
Yes.
I wonder if there's clips that were in the Mexican version that weren't, and maybe that's what he was like.
I don't know, because I think he's familiar with the Mexican version. So, but yeah, there was all the weird things, with that thing over the lamp shade and all that stuff. Yeah. Giving a shout out if anybody's interested. If you haven't seen that, go over to the Angry Video Game Nerds channel, Cinemassacre. And he's got a really cool episode all about that. It was it's hard to explain. Just go see it. Yeah, him talking about the original Dracula and some weird things, inconsistencies, and weird little things in the movie that have always been a debatable thing. Yeah, it's cool. That was a great episode, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out. We're not affiliated with them at all. James Rolfe is like, who the fuck are these fucking scrubs? But we love you. Your channel's great. Go check out that video, people, because it's totally awesome. Anyway, yeah. So I saw the English version. Obviously, they were playing it on, Stars channel or something like that, or Cinemax or something. And it was just, I realized real quickly, I'm like, oh wait, this is basically Nosferatu, or the original, like the old 1920s version and stuff. But this is like all weird, kind of pseudo-modern done, because it was done in the late 70s. And Klaus Kinski, the actor, infamous actor Klaus Kinski, plays Dracula in it. And what a creep, man. Well, the thing about it is Klaus Kinski himself is kind of a fucking creep. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, they made a movie just about like what a jagoff that guy was.
Oh, wow.
There's like a documentary all about it. Like people talk about, he was like legendarily difficult. He was a bastard. Unfortunately, I hate to bring this up, but unfortunately later in life, his daughters, Nastasha Kinski, do you know the actress? She was in Tess. She won a Golden Globe for Tess. She was more known in the 80s, and so you might not know her. But anyway, she and her sister came out later and accused him of like, inappropriate fatherly behavior and stuff. So unfortunately, it's not surprising what you hear about Klaus Kinski, because that guy was just fucked up. And apparently Werner Herzog admitted later that he tried to kill him once.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, he actually tried to burn down Klaus Kinski's house while he was sleeping in it, but Klaus's dog attacked him.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Kinski tried to murder Herzog. But no,
I thought it was...
that's what I thought you were saying.
No, Herzog wanted to murder Kinski. Yeah. Because he fucking hated him so much.
Wow.
Well, on another movie, and ironically, I guess this is a testament to what a great actor Kinski was. Ironically, Herzog made like a bunch of fucking movies with him. Like, dude, you masochist much? What the fuck? But anyway, yeah, in another movie, Kinski like was gonna, in the middle of production, like threatened to, had a big tantrum, was gonna walk out in the middle of it, and Herzog pulled a gun on him.
Holy shit.
Pulled a gun on him, was like, you leave, I'm gonna shoot you. So Kinski stayed. So yeah, there've been books and movies. Yeah, it's something else. So this is the guy who plays Dracula in this movie, and I'm not praising any of that stuff because it sounds like this guy is, I mean, just the stuff with his daughters alone makes him a piece of shit. But unfortunately, a lot of times those crazy fucks end up making some of the better character actors because they get into these roles. And there's just something about the way he plays. I mean, nothing taking away from the original Max Schreck performance of Nosferatu, because obviously he borrows from that, but there's just something about him. There's something about the atmosphere of this movie that, like, it's not like I watched this movie and was so blown away, because I'd seen Nosferatu, I'd seen tons of Dracula movies, but there was something about the atmosphere of this movie that got in my head that I like couldn't stop thinking about this movie for like weeks afterwards. I was just like, man, it really is like, I know it sounds cliche, sorry folks, but it really is like a piece of art. It's artistic. This is such an artistic movie. I'm sure you guys haven't seen it, right? No. Watch it sometime. Just give it one watch. You probably, I already know you're going to say it's boring because it's slow. Well, unfortunately, Dracula is a slow, kind of boring story. I mean, it always has been, it's not action packed by any means, but there's something really cool about just the vibe of this movie. It's just, I don't know. It's just sort of unsettling to me. And it's cool because they kind of borrow from both. It's a tribute. Herzog said it's a tribute to both Nosferatu, which was in and of itself a bastardization of Stoker's Dracula story because they didn't have the rights when they made that. By this point, they had the rights to do it, but so he made it kind of like an amalgamation of the two. And in a lot of ways, that's why I feel like it's like the perfect telling of that story. Yeah. Because it pays tribute to Murnau's original Nosferatu from 1922 and the Bram Stoker Dracula novel. It's great. on a side note, I also want to, as an addendum, kind of cheating here, another movie challenged this spot, but because it's of what it is, I couldn't really put it in there. It would be 2000's Shadow of the Vampire.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You've seen that?
That's the making of.
It's an imagined version
Right.
of the making of the original Nosferatu movie in 22. So Malkovich plays F.W. Murnau, who famously directed Nosferatu. Willem Dafoe plays Max Schreck. Carrie Elwes is in there, from Princess Bride and all that.
And from Saw.
And from Saw. And great cast. What it is that one, it's an imagined version. It's a fictional version of that movie being made, and the premise of that, without giving too much of it away, is that Murnau found Max Schreck, gave him that name, but he was actually a vampire, and he talked him into playing a vampire in a vampire movie. And the part of the deal was that was why they filmed in Czechoslovakia, because he found Schreck living in a cave when he was like trekking through Czechoslovakia like years before, and he promised Schreck, like, I will bring all these people to make the movie, and you can do what you want with them. Just let me make my movie with you in it, because he was so realistic.
Yeah.
And it's just great. So nobody else making the movie knows he's a real vampire, only Murnau. And Murnau is like he's a junkie. Murnau is like, he's doing drugs, so he's not like in his right mind and all this stuff. And the actress playing Mina, or Mary, or whatever they called her in that, was supposed to be like his ex or something like that. So he kind of had like an ulterior motive of like giving her over to him, because there was like, it's really weird. That movie, it's brilliant. Dafoe is fucking brilliant in it. It's Willem Dafoe. I mean, he's he's perfect to play Nosferatu. Dafoe, come on, look at him. Malkovich is intense in this. Everybody's amazing. The end of this movie, and it's all fictional because none of this happened. Murnau was actually a really decent, gentle director. He wasn't this drug addict tyrant like that. None of these people died. Max Schreck was a legit actor. But it was a really cool imagining of like, what if this was like that? Super duper, super highly recommended by me. I think it's a great movie. It's so it's my kind of movie. It's so interesting how they did that, and the acting is superb. It's even funny in spots, in a dark kind of way. So those two movies for me. I love Christopher Lee as Dracula. Love it. I love Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman. There've been, of course, Bela Lugosi. There've been so many great Draculas.
Dracula 3000.
Transylvania 65000.
I'm going to meet Coolio and Tiny Lister from Dracula 3000 in a couple weeks.
Oh, wow.
Actually, no, next month.
Oh, wow.
I'm just mad that Casper Van Dien isn't going to be there for the Dracula 3000 reunion. Yeah.
Wow. That's a bummer.
It is, man. I've yet to meet Casper Van Dien. He's on my list. I invite him to all my parties on Facebook.
Never comes, does he?
Him and Victoria Pratt. What's up, guys?
Someday, one day. But anyway, just because of as much as I loved all those other vampire Dracula movies, none of them had that lasting, like, weird, unsettling sort of like feeling for me that Nosferatu the Vampire did. And so that's why it made my list. It's just it's definitely the most artistic of all the movies that I picked by far. So I highly recommend it for you folks if you haven't seen it, because I know a lot of people haven't. It's worth a watch at least once. So, Megan, your number 4?
My number 4 was Masters of Horror. Incidents on and off a mountain road.
Right. So explain. So this was a series then.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a series. I don't know how long it actually took place, or if it was just the one time.
I think they did the first season, and then they were gonna do a second season, or they might have done a second season.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like top horror directors got together, and they all did a short for this series. So each week or each episode was done by a different director or a collaboration, I believe, of different directors.
Right. And I think this one was based off a short story that, of course, now I'm not going to be able to find real quick. So directed by Don Coscarelli.
Oh, that's right. This is the Coscarelli one. So Don Coscarelli was a director of Phantasm 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, I knew it because Angus Scrimm is in this one, I believe. He's the old guy in the wheelchair in the basement or something.
Okay.
Or is that a different one? That is this one, right?
Yeah, that's this one.
When I read up on it,
Yes,
that's what it
I
is.
knew it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was based on a screenplay, short story. The screenplay was based on a short story by American author Joe R. Lansdale.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. But anyway, this movie starts off. It doesn't take any time to get into the story. You don't have to like do a slow build up, get to know the people. It's like, no, bam, she's right into
1-2 punch.
Yeah, she's right there, running in the woods from this guy. So she's driving and she loses control of her car and crashes into this other car that's parked on the side of the road. And she like faints or gets knocked unconscious or something for a minute. But then she wakes up and her car won't start again. So she goes to check on this other passenger, their car, and nobody's in there. It's just blood everywhere all inside the car. She's like, oh my God. So she looks off the ravine off the side of the road and she sees a guy there. She's like, so she calls to him. She's like, are you okay? Are you okay, sir? Are you okay? And as she's watching him, he's kind of like walking funny, but she can just see him. And then all of a sudden this chick like pops out from behind him. She's like, help me. And he's like dragging her off and stuff. And next thing you know, he's like up there attacking her. So, and he's like this big monster kind of like man. They call him Moonface. And the first time he comes up over this thing and he's like the big ass moon behind him. And he's like, jumps down all vampire like. Seems more like to me, but he's not a vampire.
Okay.
But he goes chasing her through the woods. And so it starts flashing back to her husband, teaching her all these survival skills and tactical skills in case she ever needs it. So she starts using this information. She's like sets up a trap and she gets these little scissors out of her purse and like booby traps him because he's like chasing her through a log. And he grabs her and she gets out. So she sets up this booby trap. So by the time he gets out, he trips the booby trap and gets the scissors through the eye. And she's like, take that fucker. or whatever. And she takes off running. But even though she does all this stuff, she still gets captured by him. She ends up in his basement. He's got a yard full of dead bodies up like scarecrows. Like there's like 10 of them. Or there's a lot of them. It's crazy. There's an old man in the basement that's kind of talking to her, and he's obviously off his rockers. He's not quite right in the head. And I guess this guy was she handcuffed? I think she was handcuffed.
I think so. Man, it's been a while since I saw it, but
because I think she had the old man try, convince her to, like whatever, stabbed her in the arm or something. That she uses that to get the handcuffs off, if I remember correctly. But Moonface ends up bringing another girl down there, and he like drills her eyes out on the table. Yeah, yeah. But it's. And I didn't see a twist coming. Others probably can see it a mile away. I just like to watch a movie to watch a movie. So I didn't see the twist coming. I don't know if I want to say what the twist is in case somebody wants to watch it. No, I was going to say,
because I think that this is, when I looked it up, I think it is and it is probably how. So real quick, when you watched it, do you remember, did you watch it on TV as part of the series, or did you rent the video?
No, it was I want to say like a set of 4 movies or whatever,
right,
in one movie,
right?
You know what I mean? I didn't realize it wasn't a movie. I thought when I watched, I thought it was a movie.
But I think it's been that's what I was gonna say. I think it's been released as a standalone movie now. Like you can get it on its own on DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
So people can watch this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I know the whole thing now, obviously, because, well, for one, you told me about it, but I also, when I read about it, yeah, it's cool. It's definitely,
Yeah, there's a few twists in there. So
there's some cool twists in there, and it's interesting. It's interesting. It's kind of interesting too, with some of the things that are going on socially these days with women.
Yeah.
And dealing with stuff they deal with and fighting back and different, empowering things. Like it's definitely in a good way. It's it's a feminist kind of story in a way, kind of,
where she's
well, because I think she's
she puts up a hell of a fight. She's like, I'm not going down without a fight, and she whoops his ass. She fucks him up quite a bit.
So without giving it away too much, I mean,
yeah,
it's a cool. But why did this one, out of all the movies, why did this make your list? Why did it stay with you?
I think it is because she wasn't the typical damsel in distress. I can't even say it.
Damsel.
In distress.
Yeah.
She did fight back. She had all these cool tactics and everything to pull on, and then me not seeing that twist coming, and it just stuck with me. It's like, oh shit, I did not know. Okay, that completely changes everything.
Changes maybe even how you feel about her and just everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Who the good guy is, who the bad guy is, everything. I don't know what to fucking think now. So yeah, just that one really messed with my head. And again, I couldn't even remember what it was called for the longest time. I just remember the twist and her recalling back to what her husband taught her and everything. That's all I could tell you about it.
And I remember because you were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I know that movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know where I know it from. But now that you said, oh, it's Don Coscarelli one, I'm like, oh, yeah. Duh, it was part of that series that we watched whenever it came out a few years ago. But
2005.
Yeah. That was more than a few years ago. It was fucking 13 years ago.
Well.
And it's stuck with me ever since.
Yeah.
Because I probably saw 2008 or something like that when it came out on DVD.
Right. Yeah, well, I remember you when we've talked about things, especially since starting the podcast, and a few times you referenced it. You kept bringing it up like,
what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me forever to find it. But I found it. I'm very happy I found it. And now I have it on tape. A recording that, what the freaking thing's called. It's one I don't remember again.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like I said, one thing, not patting ourselves on the back, but one thing I like about our lists here that we chose is I like that it's not all, I mean, there's some obvious shit in here, Night of the Living Dead, Evil Dead, Exorcist, whatever. But I like that there's stuff that, it just goes to show it isn't necessarily always like the mainstream, like the biggest ones.
Typical that you would pick and choose.
That are going to impact you, Like I said, all the vampire movies, and the one that impacted me the most was this weird German one from the late 70s. All the movies you've seen, and then it's this one, kind of slightly obscure, almost forgotten, thing that was made for a series, and yeah, I think that's cool. So I'm curious. Even though I know now everything that happens, thanks for spoiling it.
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You like spoilers.
I was just going to say, I'd read it anyway. I'd be like, I want to know right now. Yeah, no, I love spoilers. So, but I do want to see this one. Yeah, I'm interested. It's interesting with this whole thing, like I mentioned earlier. I'm very interested in seeing a lot more movies from this, more so than any of the other podcasts we've done so far, where you guys have brought up ones I haven't seen. I think this one has me the most interested in stuff that I haven't seen.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
It is interesting.
It is. On that note, let's take a little break and kind of gather ourselves before we get into number 3, 2, and 1.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for checking out the first half of the Halloween episode from Geeking Poetic Podcast.
It's a long one, guys.
Yeah.
We gotta break it up.
We talk a lot, especially me. But I'm blaming it all on Megan. I think it's all Megan's fault. She can't stop talking, as we all know, right? Nobody's buying that.
Not at all.
Well, anyway, we had to break it up into 2 halves, so coming up right after this is part 2. We got a whole lot more to say, and you got a link for him, man?
Right there, guys.
There you go,
Right
link
there.
down there. So click on that, and we will see you in part 2.